Whoa, that was fun.
Woo! All right, guys, see you in 104.
I did it really fast because I didn't want us to start a conversation because we were kind of bullshitting. I figured, I know we all supposed to go right in it right now, so I didn't want to have any pregame whatsoever on this version of the show. So I said, boom, let's fly into it. That's gonna be real fast when I listen back. Oh, I can't anymore. That's right, I can't. Nobody can.
You can't what?
I can't listen because it's not on the network anymore. I can't listen on 1.5 speed. So if you listen to a podcast on here, on Patreon, which is the only way you can listen to it, it's regular speed. So I guess I picked a good time to do it because it would be like chipmunk speed if I was.
Oh, the app doesn't allow you to do that? I didn't even know.
I never thought it was an option. Oh, man, imagine if it is an option. I don't think so.
Well,
but
let me see.
I'm not going to research now because by the time I get to it, it'll fucking hold it all up. Some people like that too. Some people, I'm not the only guy that does a 1.5. A lot of people have caught on to that, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Some people like, oh, well, you get out of, see, that's the thing. I guess if you're just listening to it there, no, there's a speed, 1.5 speed.
You're fucking serious? Hey, yo. Wow, that changes everything. Okay.
1.5 speed. That was.
Thanks, buddy.
That was from, Patreon. Nice and simple. Took 2 seconds to figure it out.
Wow, yeah, I'm an idiot. I just assumed it wouldn't be. Well, I assumed it was like a you know what I mean, like an iTunes thing, like a podcast app thing. I didn't think it would be for the Patreon app.
No, it's all relative. Now, I mean, YouTube, you're allowed to do. I think YouTube even offers other options as well. No. But I'm thinking that everybody should be watching and listening. But it's not because I'm egotistical prick and think we should be viewed. I just think we're very expressive, and like the last couple of shows, I think really exemplified what I mean by watching it, because we do little. I threw, like, if you didn't watch the last episode, you would have never seen the poster art for Pin 2 on the Move.
Oh, that's right, Pin 2 on the Move. You're right.
If you listened to it, you would have heard us talking about it, but you would have never actually seen the poster that I created as a gag, which I put into the episode.
I might have to watch it. I might have to watch it now. I don't watch the show. I mean, I listen on the go at work, but I mean,
Usually I put the stuff into the Facebook page, which I'll probably do. Patrons only page, of course. But I didn't do that yet for obvious reasons. I thought, let's see if anybody actually watches this motherfucker.
Well, now they're watching it. I think a lot more people are watching it, but those that aren't, they're listening. And if they're not,
that's good enough.
They're supporting us. Well, you know what? We have had a lot of action on that Facebook group page and everything. There's even been more action in here. There's more people signing up. So things are going in the right direction. If the only, not that it's a negative, but the only issue I would say at all concerning all of this is how overwhelming it's been. As far as we have all of May. What is it? Is this May? No, this is April. All of May is already booked up, and we already have the first show in June booked up because we have so many people signed up on the $12 tier picking movies that some people didn't even get a pick in May because, guys, three movies on a regular show has to be the max. There's no way you guys wouldn't want us to do 4 movies a show. It would lead to burnout. It would be too fucking much for us to do.
We would hate you.
Yeah. In 3 words, or 4, sorry, we would hate you. Yeah. Because I mean, we're doing 3 shows a month. And if they all have 3 movies, I mean, that's working itself. Of course, we're going to have the occasional 4 movies if we're doing a franchise.
We need the banter. 4 movies becomes review, goodbye.
Right.
Forever.
It's true.
For the most part, yeah. Forever.
Basically, that's what it would be. We'd be on right now. We'd have a minute of banter, first review. You're right. And people like the bullshitting. I even put it out there. On the thing, did you guys see I asked a question? Or no, I didn't ask the question. We talked about it on the show. I asked a question on the show about us bullshitting, and everybody was very much into that. Saying, yeah, come on, bullshit, have fun. That's hard to do if you're doing 4 movies. I mean, there's barely enough room to do it in 3. There's plenty of room for 2, but I mean, so getting to that, we have to figure something out because some people are being bumped. There may donation.
Yeah, we have to keep it fair too. So that's exactly it. We've got to make sure that this is all happening properly so that everybody doesn't get no one gets shafted.
Right, we don't want anyone to get.
I love getting shafted.
Yeah.
Oh, quick question. I'm just
The
doing
shaft.
a little survey. Who do you guys prefer, Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder?
Oh man, Ray or Stevie?
Probably Stevie. I know more of Stevie.
All right. I'm gonna put this information right into my double-blind study.
You knew it was coming.
Hey!
Like,
Wait, hold on.
do you have a laugh track there?
Nope.
Yeah, he's already got it. Patreon money spent. Yay!
You finally upgraded to blur my background. Blur my background.
Blur your foreground, please.
I don't know what I was like. Blur my background. Blur my background. I don't know what was coming out of my mouth.
Didn't we have something like this last show? We couldn't speak right and something happened. And
Yeah, but that's pretty racist to blur your background.
Burr your background, you said?
Yeah.
What are you trying to freeze people now?
A couple of episodes ago, we're talking about Fat Boy Slim, and the Funk's your brother. That's what I always thought it said. I just noticed on my profile page, I got a message. The Funk's your brother with laugh emojis. I didn't see it for like a week. I just noticed it last night.
Really?
Which one of your boyfriends sent that to you? Fucking skunk.
And why? Why are they not? Oh, was that show 100?
It may have been. Was the
well,
Funk's your brother show 100? It may have been.
Okay. Well, if it was a show 100, that could be anybody. But I was saying if it was something after 101, how come they're not in the Facebook group? Because that's where they should be putting it. They should at least be added because we don't know.
You're not allowed to put it on my profile?
Well, of course they are, but don't you want us all to laugh along with it besides just you? I mean, now we get to laugh about it, but but how many weeks late? That's just this guy doesn't look at his Facebook page enough, apparently. His profile.
I really don't. I think the last thing that was posted on there was Don and Ellie. You know how he tags everybody?
Oh, yeah.
The episodes. I don't know if we're going to be on that anymore.
Of course not. Why would
Because
we be
we're
on
not on
it?
a regular feed.
No one's going to know about it. As far as some people are concerned, this podcast never
dead.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. I bet there's people out there that don't even know. They're like, oh, I guess they don't exist anymore. I don't know. Maybe
one of those people with coffees for closers. I had an epiphany. I think coffee is for closers. If it's maybe it's Watson in Guys.
Really?
I wonder.
You think Watson is just like playing around?
Well, because I think Coffee for Closers is the one that made the reference to Watson being unlistenable.
Oh, maybe. I knew he had something controversial. What's the matter, B?
Maybe that is him.
B is stumped right now. Look at his face.
Oh no, I'm just playing around with my settings. You know me.
Oh boy.
All right, I'm done. I'm here. I'm here for the show officially.
Yeah.
What are we talking about, Watson?
No, we're not talking about Watson. We're not.
We were. I just heard his name. Coffee is for closers. Who said that?
I did. I said I wonder if it's him and Guys.
Him and Guys?
Like
in disguise? Oh, in Guys.
Him and girls.
Into Guys. Yeah.
Him and Guys. Why are you fucking drooling? Him and
Watson is now in Guys. He's changed his ways.
Guys.
Guys is a good word. Not quite as good as garb, mind you, but it's a good one. People love garb, by the way. That's a thing.
Garb and squizit.
Exquisite.
No, squizit.
Is it? It's just squizit? It's not exquisite?
Oh, that's what Christian says.
No,
Christian said it.
That's how you heard it. But I did say exquisite.
Speaking of that, yeah. Anybody watch it? Anyone dot the Kangaroo?
You bought it?
I've owned it for years. I've had it but here's the funny part. I put the DVD in last night, and I was a couple minutes into it, and I said, this looks terrible. So I went to YouTube, and it was 100 times better on YouTube. Yeah, the YouTube is way better.
YouTube, and I thought it looked terrible.
Are you shitting me?
He's shitting you.
It looked great.
I watched 15 minutes of it.
That's it? Did you watch the bun yet?
Because I wanted to find out what was so sad. I kind of figured out I could guess, but I watched.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's not sad if you watch The Littlest Hobo, and every episode you got your heart torn out.
Or your version, The Littlest Homo.
I don't care about hobos. Wait a minute.
I forgot to burn my background.
Never heard of The Littlest Hobo?
I've heard of it. I have never. That title didn't intrigue me.
Hobo, a fucking dog.
Is that a dog?
Wasn't that a TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
I've heard of it. What do I care about a hobo? I didn't know.
But Dot the Kangaroo he fucking cares about.
Well, yeah, Dot and the Kangaroo. That doesn't sound more appealing.
Dude, there's a lot of Dot movies. I looked it up. It's like Dot and the Whale, Dot and the Bunny.
Yep.
And I never heard of this before in my life.
Dot and the Matrix.
So did you watch the end of Dot and the Kangaroo?
Yeah.
Did you watch the end of it? Did you see why it was so sad?
Yeah, and I said if you watch The Littlest Hobo, Dot and the Kangaroo is like pussy stuff.
Does the kangaroo get killed? Probably.
No. As a matter of... Huh? Go ahead, see. What happens?
It goes away.
Well, it's a little more than that, but okay.
Well, I only knew that because in Dot and the Bunny Man, the description says that the bunny helps Dot look for the missing kangaroo.
Oh, okay. Oh, the missing kangaroo is Joey, is the baby. The kangaroo had a baby that was missing.
Joey Colombo?
Yeah, it was smoking weed and shit.
I gotta be honest. The only reason you watch this is because you have a nostalgic attachment to it. Like I went in blind and I was like, I can't even skip right to the end.
Dave, aren't you a little tired of Christian's negative attitude?
I'm not a bit tired of it. As long as he's happy, I'm happy. The way I feel about
I don't want to ruffle feathers.
Well, it's true. This is how I live my life. It's true. I'm chill. I can adjust to any situation you put me in. Even if I'm miserable, you won't know it. I mean, you'll know it, but when the cameras are rolling like here, I won't be miserable. You know what I mean? But I mean, let me put it to you this way. I just want you happy and I want you happy. Because if you guys aren't happy, we don't have a happy show. And I don't want that to ever happen. See, I'm happy just to be on the show. I'm happy to be here. I'm easygoing. But I understand that, sometimes we can experience burnout or this or that. But I don't want anyone to have a complaint. I don't want anyone to dread coming to record the show. So it's like I always say with my wife.
Burnouts.
Well, listen, it's the same thing with my wife and my daughter. Is if they're happy, I'm happy. That's true. And then my wife always says, well, what about you? And I just say, there is no me. I'm fine. If you guys are...
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
I don't care because if they're happy, then that means they're not going to give me... Well, it's true. They're not going to give me any stress. And that in turn makes me happy that they're not stressing me out.
I like the fact that you said there is no
true.
you.
Yeah, there is no me.
You should get a bumper sticker that says, I have a happy wife, a happy daughter, and there is no me.
How many times is it when you're in a great mood, but the family's not, and then it instantly destroys your mood?
You're fucking done. That's what I try to preach to be about being single. You have nobody in that fucking house to stress. Well, okay, your pops. But I'm just saying, in the most case, you don't have anybody around you that's going to...
Set up at the grocery store.
I'm calling bullshit. I want what you guys have.
No, you don't. Let me tell you why. I'm at work. I'm minding my own business. Everything's going along. My head's in the clouds. I'm listening to a podcast.
I want to make a deodorant run.
I can get a text or a phone call at any time that could immediately put me in a fucking a miserable mood for the rest of the day and make me want to fucking slit my wrists. Immediately. I feel that. My daughter's giving my wife shit. She's giving up on her. This happened. The stress about this at the house. Believe me, if you're a single man, there's nobody in the world that can give you stress but you. Like to that amount. I mean, yeah, you have parents and you have family members and friends and whatnot, but the amount of stress that a spouse or children cause you is immeasurable.
I don't have any friends.
Then you're even better off.
Only one parent. Even better.
God.
He's a monster.
You're almost in a perfect situation. Go down and kill your father and you'll be gold.
That's why I didn't want you to have to do it. I just send him out to go get some groceries.
Hey, Dad, there's a guy at the door who wants to cough on you. Go see him.
That's exactly. I had nothing to do with it. It's horrible. What a horrible conversation. Okay, but it's true.
Funny.
Thank you. It is true. If you don't have all that stuff, and I'm not saying it's all bad because obviously it's not, or we wouldn't be here. But I'm just saying they hold that power. You could be in a good mood. You know how hard it is. Think about you single. How hard is it for you to be in a good mood, like on a daily basis? Probably not that easy. You know, you probably have half your days are good, half your days are bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now take that 50-50 and then cut that in half, and now you're down to 25% of having good days. Think about that. That's what your life will hold.
Whoa.
Okay?
Yeah.
Deep.
But it's
That's
true.
the new math.
That's Dot and the Kangaroo deep. Yeah, that's new math.
Did you see the bunyip? Did you see the bunyip thing in Dot and the Kangaroo?
The bun nip?
The bun?
Woo! It bit my ass.
Hold on.
Is that Paul Bunyip?
The bun yip. Did you see the bunyip? Yes or no? Okay, here it is. Watch. Watch this. Tell me that's not fucking scary as shit.
What's a bunyip?
You'll see. Just watch. Just take 1 minute.
The bunyip's very bad. The bunyip's very bold. And they
That's
tell
my background for this.
the bunyip's now 1,000 years old. So you better come home quickly, and you better very soon, or the
He put his background, this idiot.
The bunyip's gonna get you. You better hide very soon.
Dude, who
That's
does
not
the
You're a
fucking-
kid. That's creepy. That's
Who's
scary.
doing
Yeah.
the music?
I don't know. What do I look like? I don't know.
You
Hold
look
on.
like
Phil
somebody who would
Collins.
know who did the. No, it sounds like it sounds good. Sounds like you would know.
Let's see. Is there anything about that?
Oh, why didn't
Oh,
you
yeah.
play him the clickety clackety one? What was that? What the fuck was that one? Clickety clickety. I say clickety clickety. What was?
Oh
There's a-
yeah. The fucking were they the ducks or something?
at the end. It had to be in the last 10, 15 minutes because, like I said, that's what I
I mean,
watched.
Maybe it was the platypuses when they went to see the platypus family.
You know what I would have said to the bunyip?
Time.
You know what I would have said to the bunyip? Shut your
Frogs?
bunyap.
Lordy, I'm telling you, the bunyip is scary. The songs, yes, I'll give you that. It's nostalgia. You know what I mean? But I remembered all the words to the songs as I'm watching it, and I used to see it as a kid all the time. But the bunyip and the way the movie ends is what sets this movie apart. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's the great. I'm watching fucking Pinocchio or something. I don't know why I chose Pinocchio, but whatever. I'm just saying it's probably a 5-star movie. I'm just, you know, when I rated it at the end of the day, I rated it a 3.5 out of 5 on the fucking whatever it is.
On
is
the
it?
Netflix.
Not the flicks. What's this shit called?
On the letterbox.
On the yeah, on the LB.
On the box.
On the boxed.
On the box. Yeah.
Duh.
So anyway, Dot and the Kangaroo, I shared it. Check it out. As far as the patrons, we don't know exactly what we're gonna do. Maybe we take some opinions from. We might have to end up having a drawing at the beginning of the month to see who gets a pick and who doesn't, and then maybe next month, you can't get 2 months in a row if there's too many. I don't know what to do, honestly. But we can't have. Obviously, we can't have fucking 4 movies a show for every show for a month, you know. So we're caught in a quandary. So we'd like to hear from you guys because we don't know what to do. We don't want to piss anybody off, and we're happy as hell that everybody's contributing. But I mean,
We'll make it work. We just have to figure it out
yeah.
how. Because we already changed what was a bonus episode into a full episode because we just thought that would just make the most sense.
Sure.
And we definitely had to do that.
Mhm.
So
I figured it out. I think the best bet would be if the patrons continue to give us money, but don't ask for anything in return.
They can do
Look at
that.
I love his face. I love it.
They could do that.
This guy's not even getting a haircut.
I can't get a haircut. Like,
I know.
Is someone cutting your hair?
No. I lovingly got it cut right before it happened, and I think the only reason it looks still short is because I gelled it
Oh, okay.
way back. But I was going to shave my head.
I can't gel it. There's nothing I could do with my hair at this point. It just grows out like a Jufro. I don't know when the next time.
All the lack of hair on the body. Those hair follicles are going. We gotta go somewhere. Woo! Sideshow Mel.
That's funny.
You know what it reminds me of? Did you ever see Kyle on South Park when he takes off his hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what your hair looks like. It's only happened like maybe a handful of times in all the seasons of South Park, but I mean when it comes off, that's what his hair reminds. Of course, it's not red like that, but I mean the style of it has that look to it, you know. But anyway,
I know.
but anyway, we do have 3 movies to talk about tonight, so
Yeah.
Oh, there is.
I think this is where the bad mood comes from, or where Dave was going at the beginning. I wanted to touch upon this. I felt so bad. I had to read the text to my family. I'm like, I feel so sad now.
Now you make me feel like a sensitive bitch. Oh my
God.
Yeah, I do. I read it to my family.
Look what I just couldn't get into. I'll just preface. The Craft has never been, I've never wanted to watch it. Every time I've watched it, I've never really gotten into it. My wife watched it about like 3 months ago. I was watching it and I'm like, what is this bullshit? And I left and I didn't watch it. So then I told her, I go, look, I got to now watch it for the show. Will you watch it with me? She's like, sure. She goes, I remember liking it when it came out, but even 2 months ago, I didn't even get to finish it because something happened in the house. God knows we didn't know what happened, but we're like, she goes, it just didn't feel like it held up. She goes, let's watch it together and see. And I kept looking at the clock. It felt like time was standing still while this movie was going on. I was like, we're only 20 minutes in. Oh my God, we're only 40 minutes in.
That's how I felt during this monologue you're doing.
I deserve that. So then I stupidly voiced my opinion in Messenger. And Dave's like, I'm going to watch it. I've got the collector's edition blue. He's showing me a picture of the blue. He's like, or I think that was on Facebook anyway. And then he's like, I'm going to watch with the director's commentary, watch all the interviews. And I'm like, oh, now I feel like an asshole. And I'm like, yeah, this movie is not that great. And he's like, oh, well, now I'm not that excited for the show. And then I got all upset inside.
No. Hold on. There's been a misunderstanding in this respect. As far as we'll get to the Craft when we get to it, but this is what it is. It wasn't so much about the fact that you were, saying that you weren't into the Craft. That's happened plenty of times. It isn't that. There was one comment you made that basically said something about this feels like last year. And last year, now, let's be truthful here. We could talk to our patrons. There was burnout. Things went down. The show almost fucking came to an end. There was no arguments. We were just burned out. And some of it had to do with it being Year of the Patron and a lot of movies being picked that we didn't necessarily have a whole lot of interest in or were excited to watch, which is okay once in a while. But I think there was a string there of like 3 or 4 shows in a row where it happened, and it kind of became a little bit of a case of burnout. And Christian got a little bit more, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but when he compared...
I was done. I kind of announced back in the day. I think we've talked about this on a previous show. I said episode 100 is going to be the last one, and then that was it. This is before we decided to do what we did to try to figure out where we wanted to evolve to.
There was also
it was about this time last year, actually.
There was also a moment where I think you and I, Christian, told Dave like we couldn't record a certain day, and Dave's like, "Fuck it, we're done with the show." Remember that?
It wasn't that. Don't make me sound.
No, it was funny though. We were all agitated last year. It wasn't a great year. I was ready to quit too.
Well, the thing is,
okay, from where it started, which was about this point. It was like April, May of last year. And exactly. I think that point was July. We had just sort of gotten back into it, and then we couldn't continue the momentum. And then we felt like we were letting patrons down because they had stuff coming to them as well. So then we felt bad. And I think that's it. We felt this added pressure, which is exactly what we don't want to have happen again. But we need to. So we figured this would be the way to honor everything that we need to be able to do.
Well, there you go.
We honor you, patrons.
We honor you, absolutely.
We honor you.
Oh, by the way, I think we're going to change into that in society now. I mentioned it at work the other day. They're saying that people aren't going to do handshakes anymore.
No, handshakes need to go away anyway.
We're going to have to bow. We're going to have to do the Japanese thing.
I will gladly bow.
I'll do it. I don't mind. If they do it back to me. Especially females.
Good night now.
Good night, children.
So wait, let me elaborate here.
Oh, sorry.
No, listen, it was because of that. Because you said it feels like last year. This is what we're 100% trying not to do. That's why we put all our lists out there of movies that we, so to speak, have chosen for the patrons to pick out. So these are movies. So by doing that, the whole idea is we're going to have Patreon exclusive. We're going to have people get involved. We're going to have the lists. We're going to list of 2020 movies. And then the other ideas that we came up with that are on the page that you guys are aware of. So by putting them out there, these are things we agreed on. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, well, now I'm thinking, well, shit. If the stuff that we picked out is going to be too tough, we're trying to avoid having to watch movies that we don't want to watch.
Christian's just sensitive because one of his movies wasn't in this show. And to be honest, the one movie this show that was on my list, I had no desire to watch it yesterday, but I watched it. So I wasn't even in the mood to watch my own movie.
Well, see, that's the thing. The movies I put on there.
I was like, why the fuck did I pick this?
That's what I don't get then. The 10 movies I picked are movies that are comfort movies or movies that I can watch anytime. If they get selected, I'm going to be excited to watch them.
I didn't see Cotton the Kangaroo on there.
That's next season.
And I didn't mean to, I guess I did say, I felt like, but it was just that it was one after another after another. I'm like, why am I not there was one movie I really enjoyed out of the three. And that was not one of our picks.
Okay, well that's fine.
It was a patron pick.
Okay, well there it is. But they're all patron picks.
Well, no, but we put who picked Under the Skin?
I did.
Well,
it was on your list.
10.
Yeah.
Okay. It was on his 10.
I put it on there intentionally to scare Dave.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I didn't do that intentionally. I totally forgot about that.
How could you forget about? Well, whatever. Anyway.
Because it's not that bad once you see the actor. You kind of get used to it real quick.
Get used to it. It was fucking 15 minutes worth. I thought it was gonna be a 2-minute scene and it was over. Instead, I'm watching a movie like this for fucking. My daughter thought I was vlogging. She walks in the room and I have this to block the screen like this, and all I'm doing is looking at the bottom to see the fucking the what do you call it, the dialogue, because I have the subs on. And this is what I did for fucking 15-20 minutes. Then when I thought it was over, I let it down. Then all of a sudden I see something else and I go, what the fuck? I'm done. Anyway.
You should have texted me. What the fuck? He's in the whole damn movie.
I know.
The best part of him censoring is he was looking at the dick. He was just censoring the face.
There's a lot of dick in this movie.
I didn't see a dick. I saw not in that scene. I didn't. I saw nothing but fucking the 2 inches at the bottom of my screen where there was dialogue. Don't tell me he's got a 2-inch dick too, poor guy. Holy fuck. But anyway. I don't even know what the hell we were saying. The thing is, when you said that, I was like, oh no, Christian's going to burn out. This is all going to go down in flames. We're supposed to be having a fucking great time. These are movies. I don't want this show to end. Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I don't want him to be bummed out.
No.
Well, that's why I said that.
That's the problem with text. I think I was just like, oh my God. And then it just spiraled. Nothing like that at all. No. If anything, I think it's just a reality of being stuck at home. Like I've been binging on movies. I've been trying to not to watch horror. So I've been on a non-horror binge, action, comedy, everything, watching horror specifically for the show. And not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. So then when I was watching it, I'm like, I was actually looking forward to this stuff. And then, like, because I did really, like I said, like maybe, I don't know, what are we going in year of order? Because I was going to bring the craft back up again. So I could say I was looking forward to seeing it because of my previous experience with this film. I really wanted to go, this would be the watch that was going to change my mind.
Is it a Rolex?
It was actually a Swatch.
Yeah.
I want to get a Swatch, but not the ones that you can get now. I want to get an old school Swatch. Fucking be shit. I don't know if it'd be great, but I'd like it. So anyway, I guess we should get into the movie. That's fine. I mean, I want to get. It seems like each one of us wants to get one of them over with. So we can't even say we want to get this one over.
Year of order then, so that we keep true to our usual formats.
I never said I want to get any of them over with. I had different experiences with all three, but let's go in year of order.
Okay.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so first up would be 1984's The Initiation, directed by Larry Stewart. While trying to understand a frightening, reoccurring nightmare, a pledge is coaxed into breaking into her father's department store by her sorority sisters, where a deranged killer targets the girls and their boyfriends.
Okay, so the slasher hate is going to continue. People that we've loved slashers for years. We even made top 50 lists. We love them so much. And all of a sudden, we're covering these slashers that are on our lists, one of our lists at least. And it appears that slashers that are all of a sudden getting us down.
Dude, so, it was on my list.
Okay.
My love for slashers has gone down greatly over the years, but I still think this is a very underappreciated slasher. I really appreciate everything they went for in this film.
I can agree with that, because this one doesn't get talked about a lot. They talk about forgotten slashers, and then they bring up something like Madman or whatnot. This one,
the John Hamm show.
Yeah, Madman. I actually don't really like.
The advertising show.
I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face.
John Hamm.
If everybody ups their bid by $1, he gets punched in the face.
I just wanted to see how long you could ignore it before you had to address Madman. That's a slasher.
Anyway, that one always gets talked about, and that's not all that great. This one at least has some substance to it. I mean, it's got some good performances. It's got some good actors. Like, you got Vera Miles, you got Clue.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do have Clue. Yep, Mr. Gulager. Absolutely.
Mr. Gulager. I like the way he said Mr. Gulager.
My issue was starting it too late the first night. So then when I rewatched it, I did lighten up on it.
Night one?
I always do this. I binged on a bunch of movies and I go, I got to put this on now because it's a slasher. I could pay attention to it. And then, of course, like 20 minutes in, I was out. So then I was like,
that and the whale.
Well, this is the problem with slashers like this. This is the problem with the slashers that actually have a good plot and that, I don't know. The problem is this. It takes too long to get to the slashing. There's too much drama. There's too much story. And then the third act is fucking fantastic. And it goes into regular slasher stuff. And I understand you're building character. It's like Happy Birthday to Me, where they're building this kind of reminded me of in some ways. But Happy Birthday to Me does run long. But at least throughout Happy Birthday to Me, you get a killing in the first couple minutes. And then you get a killing 20 minutes later, and then another one, 15 minutes later, and then they do what they do in the third act. And listen, I'm not knocking this film. When I give my rating, it's not a bad rating. Matter of fact, I have come up since I watched it in Year of the Slasher by watching it this time. But I wish that this movie would have been paced a little bit differently with the kills, where you're just watching the dialogue for 45 minutes plus. And
you get two kills in the first half. You do get 2 kills.
True. You get and again, it gets it because it's the same instrument of death being used.
Variety of kills could have been a little varied.
But it picks up. The last act is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And again, I guess you could say, like, I mean, we were just talking about Intruder, and I guess the weight was put on the deaths and the quirkiness of this. And here we are with character development, but better character development in this.
Sure.
And yet maybe the deaths weren't so over the top. And I'm coming down on it, and I don't think that's fair because there are some good deaths in this too, and the twist is good. Like, I ended up being pleasantly surprised after all my little bitching in there. I'm like, okay, well, at least I could head fake them with what I was texting in text. I think I was just in a bad mood the last couple of days.
And even though there's a lack of kills in the first half, you do get a few. The dreamlike atmosphere, the POV stuff, and the themes explored are really well done. I mean, you're exploring themes of like dual personality, loss of identity, and it ultimately makes sense with how it turns out. And then you have these images throughout the film, her at the fraternity party where she sees herself in the reflection, and there's 2 of her, and really creative stuff done with mirrors and dual personalities, and the story of her losing her memory when she's 9, so loss of identity. I really thought the themes were really smart and well thought out, and I thought it developed really well. And you care about every character, and it gives you enough where you could kind of piece it together like a whodunit slasher, but in a fun way.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. The, and again, I only do see Dave's side of things too. I wanted it to be a little peppier at the beginning. You had these class actors and whatever, and I thought it was a little. I thought they were introduced a little weird, and then but the format is there. It has the format. I agree. The pacing, something need to be rejigged a little bit.
Right. It's kids too. When you have a slasher with kids, teens, whatever, college kids, this one doesn't play out that way necessarily until the end when they're partying. The time it takes to get there. Now listen, I'm not knocking the film. I'm not saying it's bad by any means. I just think that if you take the kills of Intruder and put them in a movie like this and had them spaced out throughout the film, now all of a sudden the combination of that type of film and this type of film, now you got a great slasher. That's what you need for a great slasher, I think. Both of those elements. This one, I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. It's just, I can't, again, I've came up because last time I watched it for Year of the Slasher, I had difficulty understanding the end. Basically, it's kind of spoiler, but I was thinking, how did he know that they were there? Right? That was my complaint. That how did the killer know that they were in the location they were at the end of the film? How would they have knowledge of that? And honestly, this time around, I figured out how. I just, you know how it is. It's the second view. Now, and speaking of the second view, I remembered one of the reveals, but not the other one. I remembered about the switcheroo of the guys, but I didn't remember the
Calm
sister
down, Christian.
thing. I didn't remember the sister thing. So I half remembered it. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, you know, with the fire. I remembered that part of it, so I assumed who the killer was, and I remembered, but I didn't remember what really is at hand here and with the sister thing at all, which is weird because you think that you would remember something like that, but that's what I forgot. But that was my complaint the first time. Like, how did he know? That was one of my complaints. And at the time, I gave it like a 6 out of 10. I was just like, didn't make my top 50, didn't sniff it because everything was 6.75 or higher, and I had 6.5s that didn't make it. So it was like, I liked it. It came in a one. I preferred it to the other one. I remember when I say the other one, I'm talking about Daphne. You know, because Daphne Zuniga, this is her first film. And she did really good, by the way. Really good performance.
She's terrific. She's terrific. And she's gorgeous.
Really yeah. Oh, yeah. And probably more in this movie than any movie. But yeah.
And she still looks the same.
Does she?
Yeah, I saw her a couple of years ago at a convention. She looks exactly the same. She's like almost 60, and she looks exactly the same.
Wow. So, yeah, she looks great and everything else. And it's her first movie. And there's the other one that she's in, The Dorm That Dripped Blood. And yeah. I watched them both that year, like we did for Year of the Slasher. And I remember saying this was the better of the two. But
by far, yeah.
But you know, I mean, so I liked it. But this time watching it, and I did come up. It's like I say, but
I really, really enjoy this film. I think that I understand what you're saying with the first 2 acts not having enough kills. But that's because I feel like it's not even a slasher, the first 2 acts. It's more of a psychological thriller, which is the type of film I almost enjoy more than slashers. So even though I enjoy the 3rd act, I have the most issues with the 3rd act.
Well, that's the thing, though.
Wow.
Read the description about it. The description's the 3rd act.
Yeah, that description I just read is the 3rd act, which isn't really. I don't think it gives enough credit to the thought process gone into this film writing. I think it just, you know, it's a slasher at a department store. No, it's much more than that.
Here's the difference.
It's a deep character-driven film.
That it is, and that's fine. But now I prefer a movie. See, it sounds weird because I like character-driven films too. But I guess when I'm watching a slasher, I kept being reminded in the 3rd act of Hide and Go Shriek. Now, Hide and Go Shriek, very basic, except it's a half hour of character development, if that, and then the last hour is in the department store. This movie, it's an hour of getting to know the characters and stuff, and then you only get 30 minutes in the store. So I guess it's part of your preference. And if I'm aboard the whole movie and all the character development stuff and everything that's going on, then great. This stuff, it was fine, but it just seemed a little bit, the pacing was a little bit sluggish. That's all.
I didn't mind it because I felt like by the time they reached the peak of all the killing, the characters were developed enough where I cared about who lived and who died. Like, obviously, I wanted to see Megan and Andy get killed, but Ralph and Marcia That was a tough one, especially after throwing in that whole scene about, why she's a virgin. That was an interesting choice to put in there. I like that. That was a very
a weird revelation late in the movie, but yeah.
Yeah, but
it made sense. Now, so the garden hoe as a weapon of mass destruction, so to speak, in this is to throw you off on who the killer is, correct?
Oh yeah, and why is he called the trustee in the beginning of the movie? Why did she say it's the trustee, and how come she wants him out? Why is she so opposed to that guy? You know, I'm talking about the nurse in the beginning, and the guy's outside doing his thing, and she's like, "Oh, you got to get out of here." Why was she so opposed to him?
Because he's staring up at his other daughter, who's staring down at him. He's aggravating her. She's standing at the window, looking right down at him. You see a shot of her standing from behind, and you don't even pay attention to it. You just assume it's a random patient, but it's her.
I get that, but why is
following her? Because he's agitating the patients.
He's just doing his job. All he did was look up once.
And creeping around. I was a little confused with his character. I didn't like the way they played it out with his character, that he's following and basically cleaning up her mess. I didn't like that, and I also didn't like that they didn't bring Clue's head back into it. They definitely should have brought Clue's head into the department store, because she cuts his head off.
Oh, that's right.
She decapitated. You see the shadow of the decapitation. Yeah. It should have shown up in the department store as a scare for...
Definitely. You could play that part in the remake.
Yeah, Brandon's head. He's going to be the head in checkout.
I want to take both your fucking heads and keep them right on my shelf back.
Well, that would be a
severed
good
head
scene.
played by Brandon Orlick. Introducing Brandon Orlick as the severed head.
No, in checkout. In checkout, his head.
Oh, here comes checkout. Okay.
Well, it's true. In checkout, your head, this would be great. You know how you go to the butcher shop and they have that clear glass?
We're not in checkout. Checkout's going to be a real movie with real actors.
Well, I know. No. Well, either way, your head still has to be at least... Okay, let it be a real movie with real actors, but at least there is a scene in that movie that'll work. People going in the butcher shop, right? Because there's a butcher shop in checkout. And then, they're going to go by. You see this big piece of ham. You see this roast. You see whatever you see at the butcher shop in the deli. And then at one point, we'll have you stick up your head into one of the things, and your head will be in the case in the butcher shop.
There can't be a ham there because it's a Jewish deli. So it's a kosher butcher.
That could be the insult. We can even play on that. You
put them right next to the ham? That's not kosher.
Yeah, put a ham on one side and a pig's head on the other. How about that? Oh, the things we can do. Okay, well, anyway. Shit. Why is the guy called the trustee? Do you understand that?
No, his character was a little confusing to me. I get the big reveal and everything. I couldn't understand whether he's just, a trustee as in somebody who contributes a lot of money and but at the same time, I believe they make reference to him being a patient.
He has to be a patient after what he went through.
I thought they said they both escaped. I thought they did.
No, he escaped, which also makes no sense. It was the easiest escape I've ever seen. It was easier than fucking Halloween 78. For no reason, all of a sudden they're standing out there. They don't even explain how they escaped unless I missed something, and I'm Dave Z, and sometimes I miss things. But if I didn't miss something here, it was the easiest escape in history. All of a sudden, they're out there doing Ring Around the Roses. I'm like, well, how the fuck did this happen? Right? What am I watching?
It's the same thing in Halloween. Come on, just buy it.
They all didn't get out. Only one guy got out because remember, the other ones, they were inside.
That's not all the patients.
I know it's not all the patients, but I'm saying is in Halloween they escaped the hospital, but there's still a fence to keep them in. In this movie, they're just there on the front lawn, like I'm watching fucking Twilight Zone the movie, and it's the front lawn of the old folks' home, and there's no gate. They're just there. I'm like, what the hell?
They were in the parking lot. They found her in the parking lot. They went to kill Nurse Ratchet over there.
Then why didn't the others?
Which was a good kill. Which was a good scene. It was creepy with all of them surrounding the car.
Yeah.
That was.
I buy this. Well, this is almost like. I mean, this I think is paying homage to Halloween '78. I think the POVs in this, the atmosphere, some of the shots, and I think that escape is straight out of Halloween.
But there's no explanation.
Straight out of Halloween.
Straight out of Haddonfield. Crazy motherfucking name Michael. Oh shit. Okay, well, I guess I'll let it go. No, if no one's gonna sign up on that with me, it just seemed really.
I'm letting go, Michael driving. You got to let go of this.
Okay, fine. That's fine. So it's an easy escape. There is POV. It's great. You know, I don't know. The weapon to kill is cool with the claw. I call it the claw, whatever the hell.
The claw.
It's a garden claw, right? Is that what you call it?
Oh, it's a garden hoe, isn't it?
It's not a hoe. A hoe is.
Oh yeah, the hoe's
You gotta let a hoe be a hoe. Come on, man. Shit. A hoe is there's a stick and there's a thing on the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a little garden rake.
It's a garden claw. Okay, rake. Fine. We'll go with a rake.
Let's rake this conversation in.
It's the same thing that Michael Myers killed that guy in part 5, if that helps anybody. It's the
So you would have liked more kills versus the whole side story with Pete and Heidi and the Dream Lab and all that?
Yeah, there was too much of that, I think.
I liked it.
I liked it, but I wanted something sprinkled in with it. I don't want to.
Oh, okay. An extra killer here and there, like maybe up the kills instead of 2 to 4. That's fine. But I love, the revelation that she's not dreaming. She's just, reliving a suppressed memory and
good stuff.
I think really, really creative stuff. I think this slasher really doesn't get enough credit because slashers are really judged by their kills and, the reveals of their killers. And some people I think might find this one a little silly, but I think she does such a good job in it that I buy her in the dual role.
Yeah. Spoiler. It's called a hand rake or a hand cultivator.
Cultivator? That sounds really fucking scary.
Can you
kill them with the
cultivate
cultivator?
something more interesting to say?
Hand rake. I give you that.
She has to put on gloves. I love that. She's COVID-19 compliant.
That's what I was thinking.
She put on those like they weren't even like good gloves, too. It looked like the little ship breeder ones you're making sandwiches with at a fast food joint.
Dude, at the end, I thought her hands were exfoliating or something. I thought her skin was falling off. It looked so bad.
Under the skin? No.
Under the skin. The girl. Ooh.
Dude, I don't understand. And okay, this is the first. That's where they got it from. How about that? I mean, nice fucking gloves. Honk, honk. At least it wasn't Jason in part 6 with those fucking gloves. You know what I mean?
Well, those made sense.
And that
would made no sense. I'd rather have these.
The trustee had a nice collection of tools and probably had a good pair of gloves, so she should have gotten like a pair of Jason 6 gloves.
Why did he just get lower?
I noticed that, but I think he came back.
Who got lower? Me?
You.
Yeah.
My friend.
Sound okay now?
Nope. Your sound instantly got lower. Uh-oh. Don't even tell him. I think it's too late.
You got it.
We got it. Oh, there. He's good. Wait, talk now?
Hello?
Okay. He's good.
You're back. I don't know what happened.
All right, that's okay.
It was me.
It's okay. No, I heard. I bugged out for it. I thought it was me.
The patrons didn't want you to fix it. Sorry, patrons.
Look at his face.
I got my
radioactive.
Okay, guys. When did we find out what time we were?
Now Dave got low.
Yeah, no, Dave got lower. What the hell's going on here?
Fun now. Am I better now?
Keep talking. Dave?
Yeah, you can't hear me?
I can hear you. You just sound low now.
Yeah.
See what happens?
I don't know what happened, but you're lower.
I didn't do nothing. I mean,
there you go. You just popped back in. Is that what happened with me?
Next is gonna be C. And then we have to abandon the call.
No, it's never C. He'll break up 1,000 times during the recording, but when the show comes out, he sounds perfect. You sound like a bunch of fucking.
This fucking guy, right? He'll break up with his wife. He'll break up with his wife during the show. You won't even know about it.
Yeah, we'll sound like a bunch of fucking garden cultivators over here. Oh, the point I was making, I don't even need to bring it up again. It wasn't even that interesting in the first one. The gloves, yeah, it would have made sense if she had Jason's gloves because her father was the trustee who had a nice, collection of tools and probably had those
and a garden cultivator.
And a
garden gloves.
Yeah, why wouldn't they gardening gloves? I wonder why they put those gloves on. Isn't it? It is COVID-19 though. It's really weird. That's what I was thinking watching. I mean, how the fuck is she wearing plastic gloves?
I have not worn gloves during this.
I haven't either, but I don't go anywhere except to work, and I can't use gloves at work, and I keep distance from everybody. So.
Yeah, do you stay 6 feet away from the beaters?
Ones that you just put on. It's not even like like washing dishes gloves, which I think was like Evil Laugh or stuff.
One of those surgical gloves. They're like surgical gloves that cheap surgical gloves that she probably stole from the asylum.
Cheap is right. It looks like the cafeteria gloves.
It does.
Cafeteria ladies was using.
Exactly.
She shot the clerk. Didn't you hear at the end? And did you hear at the end? I shot the clerk. I shot the clerk. But I did not shoot the trustee.
I'm just glad someone else is singing besides me. Nice.
You gotta sing, otherwise Marco will pull his pledge.
He's not the only one. There's a few other people that said something on the page.
Mr. Angel voice over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. But by the way, people that are watching on Patreon, there is the Facebook page. So if you want to get on it, let us know. Because there's new people that have come in that may not be aware of it. If you want to get on the Facebook group page, let us know. Just message under here.
We got
Exclusive,
Angel,
yes.
We got Angel voice over here. Fucking
Angel
gorgeous George over here, and fucking shit over here. Fucking big steaming pile of poo over here.
No. Long-haired poo.
What's you?
Long-haired steamy shit.
Whatever. You got to get pickled.
Sorry?
You got to get pickled. Did you know that was a line used in this movie? You got to get pickled, he said.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Under the Skin.
No, I'm not talking about. Boy, is there pickles in that movie?
That's what it reminds you of when the guys go into the pool, that they're being pickled. They're being
pickled.
Oh,
pickle juice. Yes, indeed. That's the pickle juice scene.
That's olive juice.
I love juice too.
The movie when it hits, I think the thing is, if you go in expecting a slasher, you may be disappointed until Act 3. If you go in expecting a psychological horror that is with slasher-esque elements, you'll enjoy it a lot more so. If you go in blind, like Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder,
you're not going to see a fucking thing.
Wow. We've stooped to that level.
The double-blind study's been brought up again?
We're going to call back to your joke, but the reality would be that there is better. Like, I can't give something like House of Death or House of Death or Death Screams, whatever that 1982 movie, a 6 out of 10, and then have this at the same level. This is a much better film than that, and I think the reality is, once you get over some of the stumbling blocks of me being just a negative Nancy the last couple of days, it's an enjoyable movie. It's an enjoyable slasher. It should be seen, or enjoyable horror, let's just say, and it should be seen.
One of the things that I noticed I did with all three of these movies is I found things that I would have changed with each of the movies. And with this one in particular, I would have taken the Jason Randall character, the father with the burnt face, and not had him a patient, just had him somebody who was working the ground simply to keep an eye on his deranged daughter, just to basically keep tabs on her and make sure, she's there, she doesn't escape, she doesn't hurt anyone. And then when she breaks out, he's almost trying to stop her, but can't seem to catch up with her. Whereas this end felt like why is he, like, he's really just going around and covering up for her and helping her? Like, was he gonna?
That makes sense.
Was he gonna? But was he gonna kill Kelly?
Listen, I'm not concerned about him killing.
I think Kelly. He was there to protect her. I think that's the thing. You think he's there? You think he's there to be the killer, and then I think he's like, and then of course he gets thrown off the.
But he's helping her. So this is the one point where he's not gonna help her, and he's not gonna help his daughter. He's not gonna help Terry or whatever the other sister's name is, and he's gonna protect Kelly now. Like, it felt uneven there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't understand it. I just think that he's cleaning up, like you said. Why is that so hard?
He's cleaning up, but so then he's gonna kill Kelly.
No, I think he's gonna. Well, maybe, but then again, maybe so. Maybe he is choosing one daughter over the other, but he has to. You got to keep this in mind. He has to be a prisoner. He has to be a patient. Pardon me, because otherwise, why would any of this happen? This guy got railroaded by his wife, so he has to be put away. Otherwise,
doesn't the boyfriend figure that out when they're going through the microfiche or whatever the fuck they're using and they get all him and his little sidekick assistant, the boyfriend that's on the
Peter and Heidi.
Yeah, and I think he says when they pretty much give you all the exposition of what the fuck's going on, at the point for revelation while we're led into that, not the final act, but that final, the climax, I guess, part of it would be I think he says they both escaped.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is I would have preferred if he wasn't a prisoner. Look,
and you don't have a movie.
Yes, you do, because she's in the asylum. She's the crazy one. She's the one who stabbed who stabbed Clue, who's cheating on her father. She's the one who gets put away. He gets burned in the accident. The other daughter loses her memory from this traumatic incident. So the father then, even though he's not a prisoner now, he's free, decides because he's got a disfigured face and all this drama happened, he's going to stay away from his daughter because she doesn't remember and let her kind of forget this, and he's going to keep an eye on the other daughter. Would make perfect sense to me.
Okay, I wasn't thinking that. I forgot about the amnesia. I was thinking they had to have him go away so she wouldn't know about her father. He wouldn't be able to access her, and then you would lose that red herring. But the way you said it, okay, I get it now. Write it a different way. Okay.
You know, would have been a great ending, and this would have tied back and brought what you wanted back, Brandon. I think it would have been great. So, and I'm not joking here. So the mom comes and kind of helps save the day a little bit.
The what?
I'm
sorry. Every time.
Mother comes and helps save the day.
Just killed your dad. Put a gun against his chest. The trigger now.
I was going the Danzig route, but that's okay.
I was going John Lennon.
So they go home. They just said they're having breakfast or whatever, and then she trying to calm the daughter down. They're having tea, whatever. She opens the fridge and Clue's head's in the fridge.
Yeah,
for the scare.
Yeah. Clue's head, it's a comeback. Clue's head.
Jason 2. The head in the fridge.
and then she gets off the table and stabs her mom in the head with an ice pick. Daughter's crazy.
What movie did that ending remind you of, though?
Happy Birthday to Me?
No, it reminded me of Blood Rage.
Oh, thank you. Better off. Right.
Blood Rage, right? Exactly. Yeah. Like the look on the mother's face, like she's destroyed that she had to do it, but she's destroyed that she let it get this far. What? Yeah.
Yeah, Blood Rage. You're right. Yeah. A little Blood Rage, a little Happy Birthday to Me, little throw it in. Yeah, a little hide and go shriek.
The only time I got mad in this movie was when Daphne ran out of the elevator and just left her best friend just sitting there.
Yeah, that was well. No. Behind her, but she wasn't.
Smart move, though. But survival of the fittest, I guess. I don't know. What are you gonna do? How about those guys with the long ass screams? I never saw two guys in the same movie that screamed longer than these two guys when they got killed. They were like, ah! They were like really long screams. Sorry, yes. Jim. I woke up the cat. They were really long screams. I was like, what the hell? It was funny.
Was this movie shelved for a couple of years?
I don't know. It
came out at the end of the slasher. I know we were getting them throughout the 80s as Blood Rage and Intruder are perfect examples of. But this was 84. So it's kind of after the crazy heyday of the slasher.
True, but I think it was out there, but I don't think the title and the cover shows slasher to me. The initiation, they had this candle. It would have been a movie I may not have even rented at the time.
Yeah, I almost feel like this is just a horror film with slasher elements to it.
That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah. But you said this was Daphne's first film, but that was actually the dorm that took blood.
No, this is too. Yeah. This is introducing Daphne Zuniga, so I don't know.
Well, she had such a small part. I asked if it was a small part in Dorm that drift blood too.
Well, maybe it was filmed and shelved. Maybe it was filmed in 82.
Maybe it said reintroducing Daphne.
Yeah, she gets that props every
maybe
movie.
They were introducing the other Daphne Zuniga in the film.
They're twin.
Yeah, because
the twin. Did you guys pick up on the fact that the one girl, what's the assistant's name of the Peter's assistant? That girl, Heidi, her voice sounds just like freaking Annie from Halloween. It was so weird, and my wife was the one that picked up on it. She thought I was watching. She goes, "That sounds like Halloween." She goes, "Oh, come on, Lori." I was like, "Holy shit!" And then after she said that, for the rest of the movie, I was picturing Annie. It was the weirdest freaking thing. She thought that was her.
See, they were paying so much homage to Halloween. They even did the voices.
Maybe so. I don't know.
It was released in December of '84. I didn't find any information about it being filmed beforehand.
But I'm telling you,
my guess is it was filmed before it was released.
Yeah.
It was released in summer of '84, but I don't know if it was filmed beforehand. No,
it was filmed in '85. This is fucking crazy.
That's a movie I want to see. That's released and then filmed after.
Yeah, well,
he's got
a ghost is a person. A ghost is a person that was once alive and is now dead.
Oh, dude, when I saw that, whoever posted.
Did you listen back? Because you did say exactly the.
No, I know I did. Dude, that's the remake thing all over again. If you're gonna remake a film, just remake it.
Well, that makes perfect sense. We get that. If you're gonna remake a film, remake it. That makes all the sense in the world.
We did it after we tore him a new one for 10 minutes.
He said the exact same thing. A person who walked the earth and is now dead, or a person who was once alive and is now dead.
I'm sure my wife that too. She got a kick out of it. It's funny.
Oh shit. Oh god.
It's like, is he special? I'm like, yeah. Look at his face. I love the reactions I get sometimes from him. It's great.
Good stuff, man.
If you look at episode 100, Brandon looks like Dr. Jekyll. And in this episode, he looks like Mr. Hyde.
We got to start snapping pictures of it. Actually, we can. We have it all here. I'm going to snap. We'll put it on the page. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Nice.
Do that comparison right after you do him with the mouth that looks like the girl from Part 7.
Elizabeth.
Melissa? Oh, yeah.
Caden?
Maybe.
I think you're right.
Elizabeth Caden. Yeah, she was in Necromancer. Necromancer?
Yeah, you said that last show, so I'll believe you.
How do you know her name? You never know any of these freaking characters' name. Remember anything from Friday the 13th?
I grew up on part 7, unfortunately. I grew up on part 7 and 8. That's the sad fact of my Friday. I think that's why I didn't become as big a fanboy as others.
Hey, part 8 was the first one I saw in the theater. I still realize, even when I was watching, I'm like, you're like when you're giddy. I know I've talked about this before. I'm like, I want to enjoy this. I'm like, something's not quite right here.
Dude, Part 8 was the first horror movie I saw in theaters, so yeah.
I still kind of being forgiving of it because it was that experience of seeing it. But still, you got to recognize it as the turd that it is.
Of course, and that's just it. This is what I don't understand. People say, oh, well, you're not a Friday. I've been listening to all these Friday podcasts and everything else, and they're doing it now in the Mic of Madness. I'm listening to them, and I'm hearing them say it, and they're going back and forth, and they're rating some of these turds high. And I'm thinking, here, it's the same. Just because somebody labels something Friday the 13th, why would I be that much of a mark? It's almost like doing a disservice to the good ones by just accepting the bad ones and saying that they're, that by rating them high just because they're called Friday the 13th, released by Paramount, and have Jason in them. I think you're doing it a disservice by not honestly looking at something and saying that's shitty. It's like, look at it this way: WWF wrestling now. I've watched WWF wrestling, WWE, whatever, since the 80s. I do not like the product whatsoever right now. So I'm not just going to continue to watch it just because it's WWE and say, oh, well, I'm still watching and I'm a real fan. No, if something sucks, it fucking sucks.
That sounds like something I would say. That sounds like something. That sounds like if something sucks, it fucking sucks.
Regardless of title and who's in the movie and what the plot is. I'm sorry, you can't put Jason. Like if Jason was the killer in this movie here, The Initiation, is it gonna go from my rating to a fucking 9 out of 10? Of course not. You're gonna put in Henry Manfredini score and have Jason be the killer instead? I don't know.
See, that's why I trust you guys as the true Friday fanboys, because you'll just randomly start talking about Harry Manfredini scores that you're hearing just while sleeping. I heard a Harry Manfredini score while I was...
In House. I watched House. I revisited House, another one that I'm not really high on. And Harry Manfredini does the soundtrack, and I swear it's cues right out of Friday the 13th, The New Beginning.
Well, there you go.
Actual music cues. Like, he must have just been like, getting the paycheck. He's like, okay, no one's going to notice.
Well, who directed
this up a little bit? Steve Miner and Sean Cunningham.
I thought, yeah.
Sean Cunningham was producer. Steve Miner directed House.
Okay, I knew they were both involved. Okay, well there you go. It's a Friday type thing. You know what I mean?
I feel like Nightmare on Elm Street should be my favorite franchise, since my favorite one in the series has Freddy in it, whereas my favorite Friday doesn't have Jason, and my favorite Halloween doesn't have Michael.
That's pretty crazy right there. Wow. Anyway,
So,
what else can we say?
Did you come down on this, or like, was there any final thoughts?
No, he went down on it. Do you think he came down on it? Shit.
No, look, there's issues with the film. I pointed out the issues I had, and I think that the lack of variety in kills and maybe the lack of gore comes from the fact that our killer it's a mystery, so it's a whodunit, so you almost have to hide it better. So it has to be like quick cutaways. You can't show too much, especially since we're led to believe it's a man and it's actually a woman doing it. So they had to be real careful, and I appreciate that. But I do agree that some of the kills could have been varied, a little bit more gore, and I would have, like I said, changed that bit with the Jason Randall story. But I believe I was like a 7 originally on this, 7.5, and I'm gonna come up a little bit. I'm gonna go 7.75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I came up too. I went from a 6 to a 6.5. I liked it more this time. I liked where they went in the third act. I'm so glad he ditched the killer ditched the claw and started. That's when I was enjoying it. They switched the weapons. They had better kills. They had the arrows. They had this. They had. That's what I want in my slasher. So
you
then
you got the hatchet. You got the hatchet kill.
Yeah.
Which is a great hatchet kill.
Yeah.
And Dave, I'm right there with you. 6.5. I will actually rewatch this again. And the only thing I think to add to what we already talked about is they didn't do the, hey, it's you, which would make total sense here.
Oh, you're
right. Because the actual killer, or they would like, oh, it's, and then boom, and then they get the axe in the head. Everybody's like, either the kills are way too fast, they don't have a time to react, or if they do get time to react, it's not that. So it is interesting that, based on the revelation, that there isn't more of that realization of, hey, wait a second.
Well, when you think about the kill, you think about the kills. You get the the harpoon kill in the bed, almost like a Friday 2 kill, but it doesn't kill Marsh. It just kills Ralph. So it's quick. Right. She can't see him. You get the hatchet, which is very quick. You get the arrow, kind of from the shadows.
I guess they're quick.
And doesn't she even say before she gets killed with the arrow, the mean sorority bitch? Doesn't she even say, "What are you doing?" Like in almost. I could be wrong, but I could be making this up. But I felt like
she might have.
She might have said, like, "What are you doing?" in a calm voice, like she saw it was her, and be like, "What are you doing?" And then
because all of a sudden somebody's standing there doing something, pulling back on a freaking thing.
No, but I'm saying she could have also recognized her, and that could account for the fact that you would be calm and be like, "What are you doing?" Like if I saw you, like all of a sudden we were hanging out at the department store, and I saw you in the sporting goods section with a bow and arrow, pointing at me like, "What are you doing, Dave?" I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
You know, I hear you.
Usually these movies, they jump right to the conclusion of, wait! And then you're like, but at that point, you wouldn't know what the hell's going on.
Well, I felt that with Intruder. They had so many times where they're being dragged around. It felt very My Bloody Valentine, where the killer's dragging you and pulling you to your death before he even starts killing you. And they could have been like, "Billy, no, we'll help you get a new store. We'll help you get a new store." But they never did that. Like they had way too much time to be like, "Billy, please, we love you. It's me. It's Produce Joe.
Walgreens is hiring. What are you doing?"
Aldi, Lidl. There's so many options.
Please stop.
So give me my college fund.
7.75, 6 and 2 6.5s.
Okay.
I'd say that's check it out for a lot of people out there.
It's a slasher. There's two things I wanted to say that I thought were funny. Well, actually 3. One of them, I have a note here that says Big Dick Shadow. Does anyone know what that means?
Big Dick Shadow.
Did they show a shadow of a big dick in this movie?
No, maybe the guy in the costume dressed as a big dick. For the
I did talk about that because his name was what the hell was his name? Bonner. I'm Ralph Bonner, aka the Boner. You're hanging out with me. That's why I'm a big dick. No, there's a note. Bloody kill. Big Dick Shadow. Yeah.
Dude, I brought up the dick tombstone in Witchboard. Nobody remembered that. And now I don't remember the big dick shadow.
Weird. I don't know. There's a big dick shadow. And then I thought it kind of odd that the girl had the revelation about being raped, and 5 minutes later she's letting some guy bang her. I don't think that would play out that way in real life. Women are very.
I don't think it was a revelation. I think it was more of, her friends had been teasing her throughout the movie, and she's just like, all right, I'm gonna be honest with him. But you saw the softer side of Ralph, and she did like him. She was hanging out with him at the party.
I get that.
They did establish that they were kind of seeing each other on and off, and I think his reaction to hearing about that was like, all right, he's a good guy. I think I'm ready now. So I bought into that, but I get what you're saying too.
But usually females are it's very mood with them.
Yeah.
If they get out of the mood, they get out of the mood. So you would think that a girl confessing that she got raped when she was 12 by some old man and breaking down in front of all these people, she probably wouldn't want to have sex that night.
Maybe
but I don't know.
She's a sickie.
Turned her on? Did you say turned her on?
It turned her on. She's a sickie.
She wanted to do something else, right? Oh, shit. But yeah, it's a good film. It's whatever. It's a slasher. If you're a slasher fan, you should check it out. It's funny, though. The initiation doesn't really show, speak slasher to me when you see that box and when you hear the title, But it's cool. Good flick.
It is cool.
So there you go. All right, we got by one. We got 2 to go. I forgot to mention last movie that it came from Jonathan. That was the pick. It came off of our list.
From Jonathan.
It came from Jonathan. Yes. So
into Brandon's mouth.
And that was one of Brandon's big 30. So yeah. Oh, no, it was one of Brandon's slashers. Yes. Because it only made
my dirty 30.
My dirty 30. His big 30. 30 inches. Imagine that. I watched Boogie Nights last night. I think they're supposed to say, I think he was 13 inches. And I'm like, wow.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not. That's believable. 13 inches for a huge cock? Why not?
13 inches is ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. That's too much. That's when you have to have surgery to have it.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? You
That's
get
why I don't wear pants. I just walk down the street.
You get an erection, you pass out instantly.
Dude, could you imagine, though, having that, what you'd be able to say to females? You'd be able to have sex with so many women. You'd have 500 women.
I bet you it'd be
500.
just as hard to have sex having a 13-inch penis as it would having a 3-inch penis.
I don't know. I've seen movies where guys have 11-inch penises, and they're doing just fine.
Yes, but normal women don't want that inside them.
Oh, I beg to differ. Women like big ones.
They like fat ones.
They like fat ones too, but they like big ones. You have to assume that it's not a pencil there.
What are you gonna knock her kidneys out? She doesn't want to dislocate her kidneys.
All I'm saying is they like them.
I guarantee you ask a woman what her ideal size is. I guarantee you she says somewhere between 6 and 8 inches, and never goes more than 8 inches.
I'll meet you halfway on that.
7 inches?
You mean 5 inches?
I'm just saying.
I'll meet you halfway. Okay, here we go.
4 inches it is. Where do you want it?
I'll push it to 10. I think that a lot of them will be okay with a big fat 10-inch.
You're watching a lot of porn. You're watching a lot of porn. A big fat 10. Don't hurt my feelings like that. Don't make me even more insecure by telling me.
I'm not saying that that's the average size. I'm just saying that I think a lot of women would be very happy to sleep with a man that's packing 10. That's all I'm saying.
Christian's wife is very happy, and she gets 4 3/4 inches.
If she's lucky.
If she's lucky.
Maron. Okay, what are we doing here? Oh,
yeah. How did this come up?
I don't know, but we're allowed to do it.
Fascination with big dicks.
No, the dirty 30.
The quota is 3 minutes. The dirty 30. The quota is 3 minutes on dick and balls talk on the show. Remember we talked about it. We're not gonna talk about cocks and balls for 3 hours, but 3 minutes. That's okay to be unfiltered. See, we're unfiltered, but we're not that unfiltered. Imagine if we just did one show where we just shot the shit and just, you know what I mean? That'd be something. I wonder if that should be like a $50 fucking thing on the Patreon page. That should be a new tier. One show. Well, it's not really nothing.
We tell jokes. We talk about penis size. We talk about just random shit.
That's every show.
we turned that into a 2.5-hour show.
Yeah.
But we go into reviews, but you know damn well.
Yes, and we rate Dave's cock.
I'll tell you this. Junior. Let's just call him the Jason Lloyd and get it out there. I'm not going to call it the Jason Lloyd anymore. I'm just going to call it the Junior. And we'll leave it at that. And it is what it is. You know, that's what I'm saying. If I had a 13-inch cock, boy, I would have walked around and telling them that. I would have been like, by the way, I'm packing 13 inches. And nowadays, if you're single, of course, you could prove it. Oh, yeah, come here. Check this out. We'll do it live on FaceTime. Look. Okay, tell your friend if she wants to come over. Here I am. You know what I mean? The things you could do.
I really want to rebut this, but we're not doing dick and balls talk. But I really want to rebut
you're right.
this. I'm really anti the 13-inch. I just think that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I'm telling you, they would love that. Women, okay, we have plenty of female listeners. Is a 13-inch too much? Is it really too much for you?
Wait, if a guy, it's way too much.
Well, why are you answering?
It's way too much. It's ridiculous.
For you.
For you, but that's in the ass. It's different. I'm not saying put it in somebody's ass. I'm saying maybe gay men don't want a 13-inch, or women that like it.
Comb your hair with it.
My head is even 13 inches. Am I gonna stick my head up a woman?
I hope not.
That's what she's into.
I hope there's nobody with an asshole that big. You're a head? Oh,
asshole. I'm going right for the head first.
Why did I say asshole?
I don't know.
I think our quota's met.
I think it is too. So anyway, Jonathan, thank you for that. That was
and Wade, Jonathan, 13 too much for you.
Is he the new one? Is he the newcomer?
He is the newcomer. You're correct. Yes, absolutely. Oh, there's something I wanted to play for you guys real quick. No, I'll wait. Well, let's go into the.
Yeah, okay. You done with that conversation with yourself? So I want to play again. No, I'll wait.
I thought better of it. I'm like, okay, we'll do it after the next review. Before going into the next. That's fine. So this is the next review. Jeez, how many times am I gonna say next?
Yeah, let's get this let's get this one out of the way, Chris.
Oh.
I'm just teasing. The Craft from 1996, directed by Andrew Fleming. A newcomer. It says a newcomer.
There you go.
A Jonathan newcomer to a Catholic prep high school falls in with a trio of outcast teenage girls who practice witchcraft, and they all soon conjure up various spells and curses against those who anger them.
All right. This comes from Glenn Wolfe. He picked it off of. This is one of my 10. Yes.
House to you.
Mr. Wolfe. I wanted to say something that he said to me on this.
Is he hungry? Are you guys hungry? Like Glenn?
Oh. That's a great song, man.
It is a great song.
I just listened to it a couple of days ago. I love those early
like
Durian. Yes, Hungry Like Glenn.
I use that as the getting ready montage sequence for a killer coming back. Hungry Like the Wolf, and he's like prepping himself, getting dressed up to go kill the teens in the winery. I don't have this one online because I shot it when I used to work in a winery. That's why I've wanted to do a slasher in a winery, because I think it would be a great setting. Is
that why you do so much complaining?
I hate you. Funny. But it's a great song, and I thought it worked perfectly for that. So if we ever have a getting ready montage in a slasher, we've got to get the right
song. Did you spill a Merlot on your shirt, or did you buy a colored shirt, that colored shirt intentionally?
Fucking guy. At least I'm not sleeping in the same thing I'm wearing today.
I am always wearing my pajamas. I'm showered. I'm ready for bed. Yeah. I'm not joking.
Wait, you don't shower at the beginning of the day? You're a night shower?
No, I showered already. I showered this morning.
I thought you said if I shower, I'm ready for bed.
No, I said I showered. I'm ready for bed.
I don't get it. I'm showered. I'm ready for bed. I'm lost.
I'm showered. I'm clean. I'm in my pajamas. I'm ready for bed tonight.
So that's what I'm saying. You shower before you go to bed. That's the point I'm getting at.
Everyone showers before they go to bed.
Oh, I don't. I shower in the morning. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, before you go to bed that night. Yeah, everyone showers.
I need to get out of here.
Everyone showers.
The Craft, 1995, whatever the hell it came out, 96.
Okay, now let me say one thing. Glenn said this was a big movie. The year he graduated, there were 3 big movies in his graduating class, and they were The Craft, Jerry Maguire, and Independence Day. In his graduating class, those were the big movies that year. And this is just one of those that everybody saw at that time. Now, I didn't live it at that time. I know I watched Scream that year, which, because it was Scream and it came out and it was a big deal. I don't think that I had seen The Craft right when it dropped. I think I saw it a couple years later on HBO or what have you. But
and I think I
saw it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was gonna say I think I saw it on HBO because I don't have what have you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Fucked me up with that fucking joke.
Right, this guy.
Bastard, pajama wearing dick. I don't even remember wanting to see this in the theater, and I keep talking about how we saw everything in the 90s horror related. This didn't even enter my radar. Maybe because I thought it was a chick flick. I don't know. And usually I don't even care because if I just go see it one way or the other. But this I did not see. And so I only saw this in the last few years. Maybe.
Oh, really?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, and I've never. I think this is the first time I actually got through the whole thing.
Holy shit! My God, I can't understand. I can't be further away from you on this. This is a movie that every time I watch it, and I've seen it many times, but over the last 5 years even more, I like it more and more and more every time I watch it. I can't really find a flaw in the movie, and I know you're gonna have some. I'm ready to. It's paced perfectly. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing I can say from the standpoint of a story, of the execution, of the acting, of just, technically, I cannot see anything wrong with this movie and why every horror fan wouldn't love it, except the fact that they can't get over that the central characters are portrayed as high school, 4 high school girls. I get that. I get how that could put somebody off, but.
Well, my wife said, "You're doing this for your horror show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is my wife." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "I don't consider this a horror movie." I'm like, "I think it's because of the end." And really it is the last maybe 10, 15 minutes. Other than witches, nothing's horrific until the end.
It's all horrific. These people are getting fucked with the whole time. It's a revenge tale. God, basically, man. You get these 4 girls that are going through shit in their life, and they find a way to turn it around. And then how do they choose to do it? Most of them, they have changes in their personality and they put curses on others.
Manon.
They put curses on other people, and then how far are they going to take it? And Nancy alone, good God, Fairuza. I'm probably gonna say this 100 times in the next half hour, but I mean, her fucking performance is on a level, maybe to me, all its own. I don't think you could tell me a better antagonist in a horror movie, a female antagonist, a performance than her in this movie. I think it is fucking tops. I think it is incredible. I thought
everybody was good. I thought everybody was okay. Like
the acting's very good. The acting is very good. I have some issues with the way the story eventually plays out. I feel like the third act is where it kind of not falls apart for me, because I actually do enjoy this film, but I would have changed some things. And it's like I did with The Initiation. I made notes about things that I would have particularly changed, particularly one character's arc. It just sort of reverted back to something that I wasn't expecting.
Okay. And again, Dave, I don't have any hangups about what's going to happen. This movie just never grabs me. I can't get into it. I do not want to watch it. I find it paced horribly. I was looking at the clock every 20 minutes going, holy shit, we're only this far in, we're only that far in. And I wanted, like I said, I was trying to go in with like a fresh take on this because I've not had a good experience just with this film.
How about a fresh cut?
Many films. Or a fresh cut.
A fresh cut.
The performances are fine. I'm just very indifferent. I just find I just don't care. Like I just find there's nothing that keeps me engaged.
You know what it is?
This movie.
I really know what it is, and I noticed it watching it this time even more so than I have in the past. Pretty much every single character, even Sarah, who's our protagonist here, are pretty much unlikable.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
They are, though. When you think about the way she screams and kind of dismisses the snake guy, then they run him over and stuff. I thought
she's scared. She's a teenage girl. Some guy's walking up with her, and this is the second time he's approached her. He's come to her house, for Christ's sakes. The day she moves in, and he's holding up a snake in her doorway, and the father chases him off. Who's this freaking lunatic? And then later on, he's coming at her again in the streets. Are you kidding me? Of course you're going to run from that.
So you have him run over, and then you run into the woods laughing and celebrating?
They weren't laughing.
They were laughing. Yes, they were.
No,
yes,
they were exhilarated that it happened because they escaped danger. But not all of them were laughing. Look at their personalities. They weren't all laughing. So, two were excited. Two were, I don't know.
They were celebrating that.
They were celebrating because they found their fourth. They were saying, look at the power. This guy was going to come at you and kill you. Now, you got to look at what was going on.
He wasn't going to kill her.
You have to look at that street and all what led up to that. The freaks that were on that street coming up to him with dead babies, and it's a bad part of town. Well, you know what I'm saying. They were scared. Keep in mind, these are teenage girls. They're played by mid-20 somethings, and Rachel True is almost 30, by the way. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with lusting after these girls the entire film, which I do, which maybe also adds to it, particularly Fairuza. But whatever.
They're all attractive cast.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, it's an attractive cast.
But the thing is,
but very unlikable.
I disagree. Now, because of that, this guy is coming at her, holding a snake in the street, and she tries to run away from him, and the guy continues to come at her in the middle of the street. They're not going to be happy when a car hits them. Of course you are. It stopped the guy from coming after you, and they're excited because they have their fourth. They made it happen.
It was too extreme. For high school girls to react that way, they would have been in shock. They would have been traumatized. They would have been crying. That's where the portrayal of the characters is very off for me.
But that wouldn't work in this movie. You can't have them crying about it. They can't. You're gonna watch fucking Nancy crying about something like that. That's totally against what her.
Sarah should have.
I'm sure that Sarah was shooken up by it because she didn't seem too enthusiastic about it.
She was very celebratory in the woods.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch that scene again. I think eventually, when they said it's because of them, having looked that we made it happen, I think there was some excitement, sure. But I think initially, there was fear and unease in Sarah's performance. I don't know. Now you're gonna have to make me check that out. But all the times I've watched that's never occurred to me. Matter of fact, I was probably celebrating with them again. But that's me. Maybe I'm too vindictive. Just like what I say, my notes say these fuckers deserved it. I'm glad that the things that happened to these people, they deserved it. I'm glad that what happened. Yes, Fairuza takes it too far, but that's her character. And you want to say she's unlikable? She has charisma. Your heel character is the only heel character. She's supposed to be freaking unlikable, but I love her. That's what you want, though. She's the one that brings it to the next level and does too much. Everything she says. Everybody asks for something different. She says she asks for all the power of male. You know what I mean? She wants to take it to the next level, and then she gets power hungry, and then there you have it. She takes it to a dark place.
I also thought the relationship between Nancy and Sarah was a little uneven because you get the facial expressions of her being very jealous of Sarah early on, because Sarah has natural powers, because her powers come from within. And then at the same time, whenever Sarah does something, Nancy's celebrating and like excited. Oh, do me, make my ass smaller. And I'm just like, well, you were just jealous and looking like you wanted to kill her a second ago. I was like, it's just very uneven for me.
Not a second ago. Initially, yes, because she is the leader of this group. They listen to what she does, and there's that constant conflict of Sarah, who these other two girls are enamored with. Oh my God, we may have a fourth. Oh my God, they're all excited. Hey, this could be the one that's going to save us. Because of Fairuza's character, she wants to be the one that's going to be the savior and the leader. Now she sees them enamored with her, so of course there's going to be jealousy. That's why there's reluctance.
But it goes on much later into the film, even when she changes her, even when she changes her hair or something, or changes her eye color. She's like, oh, that could have been done in context.
Well, that's true. That's what I'm saying. So it still lies there, but then they see something after, and it's great. And the other girls were like that too. they can't even see what she's talking about when she changes the colors of her eyes. They're like, what am I supposed to be seeing? And they're like, oh, it's my eye. This is after they've done some other cool things. You know what I mean?
Actually, I disagree with you. I disagree with you on the other characters. Bonnie's character, yes. Rochelle's character, that character arc was poorly done in the third act.
Why? Because she regretted?
No, that was a good thing. She regretted. She had remorse. They had a small.
About the hair?
Yeah, they had that instance at the party where Laura comes up to her, and it looks like they're going to have a conversation, then they cut away to nothing.
You know why they cut away? Because those two girls had to be distracted while Nancy does her thing upstairs, and other people can't be there. That was just wedged in so they couldn't interfere in what Nancy was about to do upstairs with the guy. That's why
I know that, but that should have played out, and it actually should have been a 2-on-2 in the end, and it should have been Rochelle and Sarah versus Bonnie and Nancy, because Rochelle was remorseful. She was the only one who genuinely had good reason to harm. I mean, this girl was a racist bitch, and she still felt remorseful and still wanted to be friendly with her. But then at the end, all of a sudden, she's just under Nancy's power. Like,
there you
instantly.
go. She's afraid of Nancy. They're both afraid of Nancy. They don't want to leave her because they already know what she has planned for Sarah. That's what it is, and it's spoken loud and clear in that one scene when she's bossing her around, and she says, go upstairs, and she was taking her so long, and she's like, no, and then she goes, go upstairs or I'll slit your throat. They are afraid of Nancy by that point because their powers have grown so big, and Nancy obviously has more power than all of them at that point. I'm not talking about Sarah because Sarah's is there, but it doesn't come out until she realizes it. But Nancy is the all-powerful one that's doing all this shit at this time. She's caused people death. She's freaking, they're an inheritance. She's challenging the lights. She's doing all the stuff. The whales that come up, she walks on water, for Christ's sakes. She's doing all these things. By the time this happens in the movie, Bonnie and Rochelle are afraid of Nancy. They have no choice but to stay with her and do what she wants.
No, but they do have a choice, and that's why I don't like it, because Rochelle should have been with Sarah. They even have the scene where Sarah goes to Rochelle after she's almost raped, and Rochelle's they set her up like she's going to be on the side of good here, and then it's very quickly transition to the final act, and it's Nancy's, Manon now and Manon or whatever, however the hell you say it, and they're her, her disciples. And for Rochelle's character, no. Bonnie, yes, because the minute she changed, the minute her scars fall away, like her true ugliness actually started to show.
Yeah, but she wasn't evil. She was just flaunting what she had and flirting with guys.
She became nasty, the way she talked back to teachers, the way she was to guys. You could see like her true, like as she became more beautiful, her inner beauty became more ugly.
But that's what would happen. You spend all that time freaking being that way and being ridiculed and living your life that way. You come out again. You have to keep in mind that these are from the minds of 17-year-old girls.
It makes sense for Bonnie, but for Rochelle's character, it doesn't. I can't get on board with it for Rochelle's character. I agree with you on Bonnie's character.
Why can't you accept the fact that Nancy had control over them? Why isn't that? It seems so easy that I'm surprised you even questioned it.
Because Nancy she just didn't seem to have control over Rochelle to me.
She even said in that ride in the car, she basically lumps Bonnie and Rochelle in the same category when they're talking and they're doing the red light challenge and everything. And she says, and then Sarah says, what do you guys think about something? And then Nancy pipes in, she goes, they don't think.
Yeah. And who's the one who responds and calls her a bitch? It's Rochelle.
Yeah, they're in a playful way, but still. I mean,
the one who challenges her is Rochelle, not Bonnie.
She's like, okay, she even says to Sarah, and quit trying to win them over because it's not going to happen. She comes right out and says it, that there is a power struggle here between me and you, and don't try to win them over. They're mine, in so many words. You know what I mean? I just think, I've always thought, either way, I guess that's your interpretation. To me, it's always been, they're afraid to leave her. It's like an abusive relationship almost by that time because she gets to the point, yes, she's still.
I get what they're going for. They just don't present it right. They just don't. It just doesn't get there in the right way.
And would you really want that? A 2-on-2 battle at the end of the movie? It's supposed to. I just want to have fucking Bonnie and Rochelle run out, and let's get what we really came to see, the main event.
That was dumb. They run out, then they come back the next morning to apologize. Sorry, we tried to murder you, and I don't know. It was too casual, too laissez-faire.
It wasn't the next morning, and the reason they came back is because they lost their powers and they were curious and afraid. You know, I mean, some time has passed, because by that time they're getting ready to move again, and Nancy's already in the hospital, and it's something that they're aware of. So the way I always saw this, like 2-3 weeks later, maybe longer. You know what I mean?
Know. You think they were moving? I wasn't sure if they were moving.
That was always the impression that I got. Maybe I could be wrong, but look.
No, I'm genuinely asking, because I was looking and I'm like, I see the father in the garage. It looks like he's doing something with boxes, but the bags in the car are like shopping bags. Like she just got back from shopping.
You may be correct. Maybe they're not moving. It was just.
But they even say, let's hang out again. I was like, what? Let's hang out? You just. I don't know.
Well, I
really like this movie. I feel like I'm doing this to play devil's advocate, to point out the things that maybe C didn't like, but C doesn't seem to give a shit about any of this movie and argue.
Sorry, no, there's nothing. I barely even took notes on this. As I was watching,
have so many notes.
I was so frustrated. I'm just like, I hate the snake guy at the beginning. Forced. I was like, would love to use the term pretentious, but God forbid we use that term on the show. So I'll just say forced will be the term that I put in there. Unnecessary. Him popping back up again. I turned to my wife. I'm like, this movie. I don't know why. I don't like anything. I don't like the pace. I don't like how it plays out. The performances are okay. I think that the first 20 minutes are okay, and then it just goes into territory that I'm not remotely interested, can't connect to, and didn't like one bit at all. Like, I couldn't wait for this movie to be over.
Wow.
Wow. I was going to watch it again this morning. It's a movie I can put in any time. I love it. What can I do? This is so weird. I don't think we've ever had a movie where one person's over the moon, the other person literally, not literally.
It's totally different.
Yeah, literally.
And I'm trying. Like, well, no, it's not a 0. It's not Spookies or anything like that. I won't fail it. It's technically well made. It's technically well made, and it's got good performances. I was not on board. There's nothing that connected me to what I was seeing on screen. And I mean, at the end of the day, I blame the director or something. But then I look at what the director's done.
He's
Bad Dreams. I love Dick. I love Dick. Hamlet 2. Really enjoy. I wouldn't say I love it, but I really enjoyed Hamlet 2. That was a good movie. Good track record. Why is this the movie that I don't like?
I wish I knew. It sucks.
I was listening to your arguments a little bit. I think some of it is like the character arcs. Maybe Brandon was nailing it right there, but at the end of the day, I just couldn't connect with it. So I don't want to shit on your love for it, Dave. I can't connect with the movie. Or it didn't connect with me.
I like the scenes of them, I like the scenes of them chanting and doing the spells and stuff like that. Those were actually my favorite scenes. They felt genuine. I like the things that they said, the drink of my sisters, and stuff like that. I wish they would have explored Sarah's slit wrists a little bit more. I wish it would have been a little bit more pivotal in the film.
It was just something for... Right, but they can't spend too much time. It's a 90. To me, it's perfectly paced. They spent just as much time on everything that they should have.
I think it's a good length film at 90, 95 minutes. I just think certain things should have been cut and certain things should have been added. I felt like the love spell went on way too long. It became comical and goofy.
I don't think that, but she's the lead character, so we need to see all of that.
I mean, he tried to rape her, and he's just a piece of shit. And this is his first.
Well, that makes sense.
Was this his first film role, Skeet?
I don't know if it was.
I think it's his first film appearance, and then of course they went on and did Scream later.
Yes, this year.
But he's such a piece of shit, and
that's why.
But why make it goofy where she still likes him and then she's, you know,
No.
she's
Hold on.
following him around. He's putting her bags on him. It's goofy.
No, it's not
cut
goofy.
that.
That's how they are. That makes perfect sense to me. How many times have you seen that in high school where somebody gives a girl a hard time, like a guy, and then they always end up having a crush on the wrong guy after that shit goes down? That's happened so many times. It's something about, especially you're talking about a girl who's lost her mother, who's had issues. You know, she slit her wrist. She's obviously battling some type of depression. She's immediately attracted to him. He's the first guy he meets, and then that thing happens, and then I've seen this so many times in real life where they like the wrong guy that they shouldn't be liking.
Yeah, of course.
She puts a spell.
Like the wrong guy.
Okay, so she puts on a spell because she wants him to not be an asshole, to be head over heels in love with her instead, and then she gets the guy that she's targeting. So she gets that, and he tried, but then it's so the spell is so strong, way stronger than it should have been. It goes overboard, and then it resorts to that. And then at the end, he can only go so long before the true self comes out. And at the end, he's like, I'm not going to take no for an answer anymore. And then it gets down, you know, where it's an attempted rape. But this is only after time has passed. And
yeah, it just goes on for too long. I think it's too much of the storyline.
Yeah, but it happens so quick. The only time we're privy to it is that one scene where he does try to rape her, where they spend 5 minutes together. Other than that, the only time they're together is when it's revealed, when he's being made fun of by his friends for carrying the books. And we have to see that because that's, you know, they're getting excited. Look, the spell is working. So we see that for 1 minute, and then we get another scene later on, which is literally 90 seconds, with him coming to her house. And throwing the rocks at the door and saying, I can't stop thinking about you.
Yeah,
Come
goofy again, especially for
Why
such
is it's a kid.
It was serious tone. It felt goofy and comical, like intentional comedy.
I don't think it's comical at all. I don't think it's the least bit comical. A kid going up to the girl's window because he can't stop thinking. That's what a teenage boy would do.
It's very forced with the spells here. I'm sorry. It's forced. It is. It's just not. I don't know. I would have rather explored the suicide attempt, that she did the right way.
Right.
I would have expected this maybe I would have enjoyed this knowing that it's not supposed to be a horror film, or that it doesn't go to horror realms. Funny enough, I think if it was just like a teen angst film or something, I may have enjoyed it more.
Well, that's it. They had an opportunity to go much darker, and I feel like they kind of, every time they have a chance to go there, they kind of pull back and do something a little goofy. I think Nancy's the only one who goes, you know, full dark here, you know, genuinely.
And that's what you need.
And that's all you need. Fine. Yeah, that's fine. But everyone else, they just felt like they were in a different movie.
Well, that's because they don't have that in their hearts. They just want some basic thing. That just speaks true of witchcraft in general. That just speaks true of human beings in general. They had their issues. They're gonna try to overcome them. Someone's gonna take it to the darkest place of all because she's the most miserable with her life and everything else, and she wants power, so she takes it there. One person is a natural witch, and she just wants to get over what she's dealing with and be loved. The other one doesn't want to be made fun of. The other one has ugly scars on the outside. Everything they do in this movie, all the chants they do, all that stuff is legitimate. Everything they do that has to do with witchcraft in this movie was researched and done the right way. And they had people that they counseled with. They did everything the right way. None of it is bullshit as far as that's concerned. You know, even the symbolism throughout the movie of everything being earthy. You know, the trees, the water, everything they do and where they place characters. And I listened to some of the commentary. I didn't even have to be told some of this stuff. But even when they go to the beach later to conjure, you see what they're carrying. And, you know, the girl who's a swimmer is carrying the fish. Then they're talking about, how the hell was it? Shit. The, what's her name? I forget the name. Okay, so... Okay, so you have Bonnie. Now, what the hell is Bonnie carrying? She's carrying, what the hell is it? Damn it. You don't remember what they're carrying when they go to the thing?
I only remember the fish.
Okay, so she has Bonnie has a butterfly. That's right, she has a butterfly in a jar. Okay, and that's basically, it represents beauty. And that's the opposite of, you know, her scars. You know, Sarah carries a bird, a budgie, and you know it's also a love. Yeah,
a budgie bird.
Yes, a parakeet. Yes, and a budgie bird is also related it's a love bird. She She wants love. That's what it's saying. Nancy's a snake. A snake is a rebirth, renewal, and she wants a better life for herself. And a snake also includes power and being a leader. These are all things that these are identified in Wiccan and all this other stuff. That this is everything they do is legit and it makes sense for their character. They do so many things in this film that were done there with intent. You could look at it one way without the sound and just see it as a piece of art. If you know about the themes that they're going for. And they really go for it here.
That's all good and well, but at the end of the day, it comes down to character and story, and they missed the mark. It's still really good. I enjoy this film a lot. I think this is going to be another one that Jason Smith's going to complain. Like, why are you giving it such a high score? Because I don't hate this film. I'm simply playing devil's advocate to just argue some points that I dislike about it. And I'm glad
you are, because I can't argue it because I just was so frustrated watching this. My wife was like, "Are you in a bad mood?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." And she's like, she agreed. She says this does not hold up. That she saw it upon release and she liked it. Yeah. And she says this has not aged well. And I don't.
And I think it's, and you know what, I still like it. It feels like a '90s, teen film, which is fine. But I still enjoy it. But
wall-to-wall soundtrack.
And I'm glad to hear all this stuff.
Oh, it's great. The soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack's very good. I like the opening credits and stuff.
Which is the Beatles cover, my favorite song by my favorite band, and I'm not even complaining about it. I think it's Our Lady Peace covering Tomorrow Never Knows, but. It's fucking so good. They have good covers in this movie. They have a cover of they have like 3 or 4. Then they have the one from the Smiths, which is covered by, I forgot the band. But here's what's fucked up. Do you realize that version of that cover of that Smith song is the opening music for Charmed? And do you know how much Charmed ripped off this movie? If you watch all the stuff and you do the research, all the stuff, even the guy that wrote this wanted to do a pilot, wanted to do a show, and submitted something to WB or whatever the fuck it was.
I thought Charmed was just a spin-off of this.
Well, there you go. See, they ripped them off. No, and Andrew Fleming, the director, is bitter about it. He even fucking says Aaron Spelling did this, and even took the song, did all kinds of shit. Charmed ripped off this stuff entirely, like in many ways. And this was the only movie at this time. Movies about witches never did anything good at the box office. That were just were central characters being witches. It never really played to
Except the Witches of Eastwick, Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, but they didn't play good. They didn't play good at theaters.
They didn't?
No. The Witches of and first of all, the Witches of Eastwick you want to talk about? I don't think that they played well at theater. I don't think that they made big money. They're known because of some of the people in them.
Practical magic. I love practical magic.
Not do well.
I saw that in theaters.
And the only movie this was rated R, the only reason it's rated R is because it's about teenage girls being involved with witchcraft. Like they wanted it to be PG-13, and they said you're allowed one F word that's non-sexual. There was the one scene where Sarah says, "Hey Chris, fuck you." After she spreads the rumors, and after he spreads the rumors, and they're in school, there was only one F-bomb used, and that was it. And there's no gore. And they submitted this movie hoping for a PG-13. And it came back as R, and the reason they gave was because it's teenage girls practicing witchcraft. That alone, at that time of the MPAA, made this an R-rated movie. And the guy said, well, if I would have known that, I would have had a lot more F-bombs used in this movie then. Because they tried to walk the line, and they got screwed. It's weird, though. If you look at the movie, why is it really R?
It wasn't R in Canada. It was, again, we had what would be the equivalent of 14A. Now it's like AA.
Hey, Alcoholics Anonymous, huh? Okay.
Alcoholics Anonymous. Adult accompaniment, as I've said on the show before.
Adult accompaniment. Okay.
If you're 14 or older, you needed to be, or 14 or younger. Well, under 14, so 13 or under, I guess you have to have an adult. Excuse me.
When Nancy buys the craft from the store, she, it makes it seem like it's all this elaborate, spells to really get all the power of man, and then
it's invocation,
invocation, and then Sarah just naturally gets it in like 2 seconds, which I found a little.
She's a natural witch.
I know, just you make me feel just like a natural witch.
You make me feel Yeah, and what do you mean Sarah just gets it? She doesn't.
She's just laying there. She's like, I invoke the power of Manon. Then all of a sudden, she's like, Manon's mad at you. I bind you after I turn into a pair of clothes, which is cool. I love that scene. But I do like.
Says it. The woman says it at the shop. She says,
"Yeah, your power comes from it. Yeah,
you're one of the most powerful witches I've ever met. You don't even know it. You're a natural witch, and it runs in your bloodline. That's why they don't have the. That's why she can do things. They play on it the whole film. She has all this power. She says in their first discussion, after everything happens when the guy gets hit with the snake, that sometimes she wishes for it to rain and a pipe will burst and the water will come on. And Nancy's like, yeah, right. And then she tells her other things that she has done. She hears noise and then she goes deaf for a couple of days. She is a natural, powerful witch.
Yeah.
The others do not have that. They learn it, through books and everything else, and because Nancy's so heavy into it, and they get knowledge, and but they can't call the corners unless they have the right one. If there would have been another fourth that wouldn't have been Sarah, none of this shit happens. This is all really, it's the power struggle. It's all because Sarah comes in that this stuff happens, and you see it right away.
I almost feel like Bonnie and Rochelle never really had any powers at all. And that
but their spells worked.
It's really Sarah's power that's fueling these spells, and not until Nancy really starts digging deeper does she get any sort of power of her own.
You're 100% right. That's the idea of the film, is that none of this is possible without Sarah, and they're basically just leeching off of her power.
I still would have liked to have seen Rochelle's character played out differently. I felt like she was a really good character. They developed her well. You really connected with her.
Yeah.
The struggle she was going through. And then, I don't know, I wouldn't have lumped her in with the other two.
What do you mean you wouldn't have lumped her in?
At the end, I really wouldn't have lumped her in. I would have had it been more of a power struggle between, 2-on-2 or whatever.
That's an awful lot to ask. You're gonna have everything flip.
It's not a slasher.
It's
not a slasher, so it doesn't have to be a final girl. I'm not saying they had to, Rochelle and Sarah have to be floating on one side, but it's not like that. I'm just saying she shouldn't have been there. She should have been out at this point. It should have been a different dynamic. Bonnie was a puppet the whole time.
They both were puppets.
Yeah, but she wasn't. She had. I don't know. I can't buy it.
Because I think you're making Bonnie out to be a lot worse than she is. She didn't do anything mean to anybody.
I didn't say she did anything mean. She was just, she wanted to be beautiful. She became beautiful and became a typical, beautiful teen girl, just bitchy and attitude and just just sort of mindless, like a mindless character.
I don't see her being bitchy and having attitudes. All she did was come into class and the girl said something, she made a crack. My manicure ran late. She was happy. She was celebrating that day. Other than that, she wasn't mean to anybody else. All she did was flirt with a guy once and said, "Oh, nice ass." The rest of you're making it sound like she had a complete fucking 180 in her personality. She didn't do anything.
Absolutely a complete 180.
When she comes into the room and makes that joke. It's a total 180.
She just said my manicure ran late. She made a joke.
And the guy, you got a cute ass. Call me. It's completely 180 from somebody who's.
She's never been laid. She's never had a guy pay any attention to her. Now she can be the aggressor for the first time in her life.
But it's overboard, is what I'm saying. They're intentionally doing it overboard for her character to show you that she is, not such a nice person, not such a great person. Whereas Rochelle, it's different. It's almost like, why do you hate me so much? It's deeper. Whereas, Sarah, she talks about hating herself, wanting to be loved. I saw a connection between those two characters where I thought it was gonna. Well, I didn't think it was gonna. I've seen this movie a dozen times, where I'm like,
shit.
oh yes, I like it. My dad loves this movie. I really like this movie. I've seen this movie.
Wow.
But Bonnie's attempted suicide before. She even said, "You did it the right way." They have more of a connection. Then there's a deleted scene where Bonnie comes to Sarah and they do this thing on their own involving Sage, where they have this discussion about her scares and how she wakes up in the morning and she feels like she's a normal person for like 2 minutes. Then she realizes that she's a monster. And then they do this thing on their own when they're trying to cure of her scars. There's a connection between Bonnie and Sarah because they have their roots of depression run deeper than the others, because again, depression is differently. Like, I would say that they have like genuine type of depression where Nancy has more rage. rage is like depression turned outward. There's two ways.
Nancy's bipolar.
I don't know if she's bipolar.
She's bipolar, whereas she's got moments of extreme manic, sort of crazy happy, and then severe downs. Whereas,
that's fair.
But no, that scene actually, that would have made me even more angry, because I would have liked that scene, but that would have made me more angry than that Bonnie is just a puppet in the end. Because I know they're sort of just like treated as, my mindless friends from Nancy's standpoint, but they're not. They're more than that. They developed them enough to where they're central characters. Have it just be two girls then. It should just be Nancy and Sarah on the cover then.
Yeah, but
just
you need
two,
four to call the corners.
I know. Then they could just be two secondary characters. I look at them as the 4 stars of the film.
They are the 4 stars of the film.
I know. So why just at the end, they're just the puppets. You know what I mean? It just felt like, I don't know, there was more there.
I know, it's power to me. It's who has the most power.
You know what?
It's like Yoda and the fucking Emperor.
Knowing this scene, I never knew about this cutscene. Knowing this cutscene with Bonnie, and I'll wrap this up soon so we don't talk about this forever. But knowing about this cutscene with Bonnie, have it be where everyone's against Nancy at the end. Where it's the 3 of them against Nancy, but Nancy's
that makes sense to me.
And maybe Nancy kills one of them. Maybe Nancy kills Bonnie or Rochelle, and they die, and then there's serious consequences, and it becomes a real horror film. And like you said, what's the shop owner's name? Leora or whatever her name is. She even says, Sarah's so powerful she doesn't know it. Maybe it's not until an incident like that where one of her friends dies at the end, where she really channels the power from within and has that showdown and defeats, Nancy.
Yes, but look at it this way. Sarah would never have gotten to the point she got unless she felt everything was hopeless in her world. Look at it from this perspective. They put on the show of her thinking that her parents have just been killed in a plane crash. And then, because Nancy wants this girl to kill herself. She wants Sarah to kill herself. That's the whole thing, because she doesn't feel she's strong enough to beat Nancy, A, on her own, or B, even with it doesn't matter. She doesn't want to fight Nancy. She wants Nancy to get so fucked up mentally that she takes herself out. Then she has no worries. So how are you going to do that? You're going to turn her friends against her. You want Sarah to think at the end she has 0 friends and she has 0 family. I have nothing else to live for now. So therefore, if the other girls join her, it goes against her having a suicide attempt. Nancy's trying to make sure that it's us 3 against her. It has to be this way. This is the most important thing to us. This is a witch, and keep this in mind, my friend. She put the spell on all 3 of them, saying it's going to come back in 3. It's fucking so. That's what happens, and then it goes against all 3 of them. And then when they corner her in the bathroom, they say, what happened in the old days when a witch turned against her coven? They killed her. So that is their coven. Is just the 4 of them. So she has to be isolated in order for to attempt suicide and be put in that situation. Yeah, but otherwise she doesn't get to be powerful.
She would be isolated if one of her good friends was killed and her world was falling apart. I didn't get that her relationship with her father was fine, but they don't develop a relationship between her and her father and her stepmother enough where you think like they're her world. Yes, they're her family. Of course she loves them, but she tried to commit suicide at some point before she even met them. So really this guilt is coming from the fact that probably she feels guilty about the fact that her mother died giving birth to her.
Sure,
is what I'm getting. Yeah. So I would think a stronger feeling of being alone, being isolated, and feeling like I'm going to kill myself would be take away one of her best friends that she just made.
Instead, she makes 3 best friends and they all fucking turn on her, and then she has nothing. And then this whole movie's about her isolation. Even when she gets to school, she's the only girl not wearing a uniform. And it takes her half the movie before she gets a uniform. She's the only girl in that school wearing normal clothes. She's already an outcast. She comes in, doesn't necessarily get along great with her stepmother, has her father, has nothing, comes here, makes friends, discovers, hey, I got something good going on here. And it's all about her isolation. Now, would you really want a 5-minute thing at the end? Oh, Nancy just killed my friend. I'm going to go get my powers now. The whole third act is about her being isolated to the fact that she's going to come to the conclusion to kill myself again. And she has to get that low before she finally is pushed against the wall and is reminded about, her mother and sees her picture and everything else and says, okay, now is the time. I have to invocate here. because the
think
woman pushes her to do it.
I think it'd be just as powerful if she was holding Rochelle in her arms as Rochelle dies, defending her. And, then she sees her mother and she's like, this is the last straw. I'm not losing anyone else I love. And, the showdown begins. And eventually her powers build and she realizes she's so powerful and she defeats Nancy. So I think it's kind of the same. I'm not complaining about the way they did it. I'm just saying I see ways they could have done it better.
I honestly think they abandoned half of the arcs that they're trying to achieve, and like to not bring it to a more powerful finish. Like I agree. Like you've got that. If you're called a negroid.
Oh God.
Right.
I don't. And then if you do what you do to that person, I'd be like, yeah, fuck you,
Yeah,
and then feel remorse for it though. Then there's got to be some sort of, you got to continue through with it. I don't think they actually fully continue through with her. Like I think she would, if she's really remorseful and whatever, she would kind of side. I get all the names screwed up, so I think she would team with Sarah then. Almost for the end fight or whatnot. And again, I was in and out of this. Like I was watching this and I'm like, am I missing shit? Like why is this happening? What's going on here?
I think the only reason, I can see where you're coming from, but I think they sum it up and they explain all that in just that one line in that one scene where Nancy's bossing them two around, telling them what to do, and they don't want to do it. And she says, go up there or I'll slit your throat. Basically showing her fucking command over these two girls and how she is the boss, giving fucking orders, telling them what to do, and they're obeying her. I think that scene is enough. To me, that's always shown me, okay, these people are just listening to Nancy because she's in charge. They're afraid of her. They think she's the most powerful. And then after they take Sarah out, she is definitely the most powerful. Nobody else walked on water. Nobody else had a bunch of whales wash up.
I agree. No, I agree 100%. I'm not debating that. That absolutely 100% makes sense. I'm just saying I would have liked to seen it play out this way. But your way
would have made more sense.
But the way in the film makes complete sense too. And everything you're saying, of course, she had power. That was a scary scene of her walking on the water and then you seeing all the whales or the sharks or whatever they are on the beach, and it's terrifying. And of course, what she does to Sarah at the house at the end, with all the spiders and the snakes, that was horrifying. The tarantulas, the scorpions.
Oh my God, it's
the
amazing.
Roaches.
3,000 fucking snakes.
I wrote to you. I wrote this creepy crawly scene is terrifying.
Oh, dude, it is scary.
Nobody responded to me, but I wrote it to you guys.
No, it was awesome. And
because I didn't agree.
I liked it. I actually thought that was terrifying.
Are you kidding? If you're afraid of anything, what are people most afraid of? Snakes or spiders or cockroaches? They're all in this scene.
I would have killed myself then. I wouldn't have killed myself after. I would have killed myself during that scene. I would have been like, fuck this, I'm out.
You notice the creep show nods? The one was 100% a creep show nod when she looked at the
roaches
thing in her wall, and the roaches came out of it just like a creep show. And then later on, when Nancy's getting it,
they're coming out of her arms and they're coming out of her sleeves and her
just like in creep show. Same fucking. There's no way they didn't do that on purpose. And then they put that guy's name on the wall, who was there's a lot of decisions made in this movie that if you haven't seen it a lot, you don't really notice, but they placed a lot of things in in the right places just to call or send nods or to make it genuine, because they did all that right as far as and Nancy alone, Fairuza is just on another fucking level here. That scene when she kills Chris is amazing to me. I 100% love it. You don't even exist to me. You're nothing. You're shit. And she's fucking sliding across the fucking thing. Oh, he's sorry. Dude. Oh God.
That's a good scene. That's a powerful scene. That statement, you don't even exist to me, is like a perfect rage thing you would say to somebody who's caused you so much grief. Like that's like the ultimate thing you could say to somebody. So I really bought that dialogue and that scene.
I just love her performance. I think I can't think like offhand of a better female antagonist in a horror film or any film that I enjoy watching on my screen more. I really cannot come up with one off the top of my head. And if you could tell me an excellent killer, an excellent antagonist, then tell me. And I don't know. I just think that her performance is just, she was born to play this role 100%. There could be nobody else for Nancy except Fairuza, who was just extraordinary to me. I don't know.
Watch, they'll announce a remake tomorrow.
There was supposed to be a scene just about her.
It seems like they're just a bunch of girls with daddy issues, and that's that sums it up.
Well, that's teen angst.
I'm
but
joking.
Still,
I know.
Let the basis be there somewhere. They do have issues. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own shit going on.
And I'm just joking because I didn't really contribute much to this conversation at all. Because, like I said, and I again, it's a disservice, but I couldn't relate. I couldn't pull anything. Everything was happening on the screen, and I'm like, I've got no attachment to this.
It's so weird. I argued it for you, Christian, because I like this movie.
It's fine, but it's like I had nothing to argue with because I just was like, I'm watching nothing here.
No, I know. I always had this idea of doing a show where you basically take two podcasters, one argues for the movie, one argues against it, and then at the end, you find out, what they actually truly feel about it. So you might have to argue against a movie you love. And that's basically what I did here. I don't know if I love this, but I always like the idea of, let's see it from both sides, and that's why I did it, because I knew you loved this film, and I enjoy this film a lot, but I just noticed some things I wanted to be different. I didn't just want to be a dick and be like,
I feel bad because I have no connection to this, so it would have been nice to come in from a newbie standpoint in a sense, but then I said I've given this movie a couple of tries, and I realize I just can't. I've never gotten through it before, so I forced myself to get through it, and force is the proper word here. I had absolutely no interest. And it never, I'd be lying to say that there wasn't anything good about it. There are moments of good within, but overall it's just, I was so totally disconnected from the entire experience.
Yeah.
Yep. There you have it. And I'm in from frame one. So it's just, it is what it is.
This should be interesting ratings, huh?
Yeah,
Did you watch the commentary?
I only had time to watch maybe like 45 minutes of it,
But you watched the deleted scenes.
Yeah, I watched some of them, yeah. But there's something wrong. My listen to this shit. I got the Blu-ray, and every bonus feature on the Blu-ray, the video is sped up ×2. For no reason, and the audio is regular. So I only get like half of the freaking thing, and then it cuts off. Dude, it sucks. It's a Shout Factory thing. I don't know. It's never happened before. But so there are 2 deleted scenes, but I'm actually only able to watch one of them, and then it cuts off after the first, because as soon as the dialogue for the first film ends, the video is already expired from the other one. Even they have interviews. I didn't see Fairuza, but I didn't get to the whole thing. But Rachel True is on there. And Robin Tunney's on there. The other 2 girls I didn't see, but I only got so far through it.
Tunney.
She's cool too.
I've always been a big fan of hers.
I like them all. Well, I adore Fairuza, and she got into this.
I know she's your girl.
She lives this stuff. When she was doing research for this movie, she actually what did she do? She purchased some type of store. Oh, I forgot what it was, but she did a lot of stuff as far, like, anytime they had certain questions about it, because the director really wanted to do a true, an accurate thing as possible, and like he was able to, answer. She was able to answer questions sometimes when they had them.
She'll always be Vicky Valancourt to
me. I love her.
Who's that?
From Waterboy.
Yeah, I love her no matter what. I loved her. Return to Oz, and I was the same age as her, so I had a crush on her.
Man, I love her in Return to Oz. I love Bedelia also, and the lunch pails in the tree.
It's all great. I have to show it. But here's it. Fairuza became familiar with the Panpipes magical marketplace in Hollywood, eventually buying the store, and continued to operate until 2001 when she sold it. But she was always into that stuff, and she still is. She is a practicing Wiccan and everything else. But and then she also ad-libbed all kinds of lines in the movie. And the guy was talking some lines that I happen to love. When she said something, I love a woman in uniform. That was her. She just would throw random lines in there, and the director was like, "That's great. We're gonna go with it." And then there was a thing when she showed her that she slit the things, and she goes, "Punk rock, let's go." That's something I would say. I fucking anyway. let me just relax because I do adore the woman so much, and I always have. So, but her performance here that was really the one that won me over for life. I just think it's incredible. But I think well, I know people are listening that do agree with me. But I think that people misjudge this movie from the outside. They can see it as being a chick flick because of the character, but I disagree completely. To me,
I feel like more people like this movie than dislike it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I only heard people praising this thing, and that's why I'm like, what am I missing?
Yeah.
What have I missed all these years?
I feel like Christian's in the extreme minority here. Even people who don't love it, I think rate it decently.
That's why I'm so surprised. Like I'm shocked because I look at it like everybody. I've only seen positive. I've not seen people say, "Oh, it's only a chick flick" or anything. I've not seen any of that or any of those comments at all.
Well, I'll give my rating. I forgot what it was when we did the '96 show, but I'm not sure if it was a 7 or a 7.5. But it's right there. I'll just go right in between. I'll split the difference. I'm going pretentious again. 7.25.
7.25. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy this film. Like I said, the things I was arguing and the arcs and the stuff like that. If it had played out a little different, I feel like I could have elevated this film even more. But Fairuza Balk's performance is the standout. Is definitely the standout of the film.
At least we can agree on that. Okay.
Oh, without a doubt, she's terrific. She's a good actress. She's good in everything she does. I think she's underrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The main four are good performances. Like I said, everybody's a good performance in this, even the secondary characters. I just, like I said, I couldn't really connect anything. I've tried. I have absolutely no interest to go revisit this. 5 out of 10.
I thought you were gonna say 8 out of 10, and then give Jason Smith fuel.
Well, nothing's changed for me. I love it more every time I watch it. I don't give it a perfect rating. There are the couple CGI moments that I'm just like, I wish they didn't age well.
Was it Nancy's like Medusa fingers and stuff like that?
A little bit, but the one that always stood out for me is when she does her hair thing.
Oh yeah,
she changes her hair color, and then later on when Nancy visits Chris at the party and pretending to be Sarah, and then she turns back and you see that the hair is the way it is. Just it doesn't look right. And as far as the decisions, I wish the Snake Man. I mean, I can get it, what's going on there and what it's symbolizing, but maybe they could have explained it a little more or said something about it. But very, very minuscule things. The first time I did this for the sake of review, so to speak, was when we did it on 22 Shots. I did it again last year on the summer series on Podcast Under the Stairs, where I wanted to put Scream and this one ahead as the 2 best movies of the year. Actually, they got voted in by the host on the show, which was a pleasant surprise. But then the listeners and the other hosts for the other podcast voted it out and put in From Dusk Till Dawn. But for a shining moment there, we had it. And although I rate them all the same, because I have Scream as a 10 out of 10, Dusk Till Dawn and this movie I have at the same rating, and it's very high. But it's a 9.5 out of 10 for me.
Wow. Okay.
Hall of Famer for Dave.
I wish it was. Well, it is. It is for me.
No, it's weird. I almost thought like the Snake Man, like it felt like it was going to be a character that's pivotal. That was going to be like a an epiphany character for Sarah.
Well, it's foreshadowing.
I usually don't get bored. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just when there's always a movie out there for somebody. You just don't relate to anything there, and I just couldn't attach myself to anything. Like I just kept looking at my wife and maybe saying like, look, well no, but maybe she'd be like, no, you guys you're just being too hard on it. Just fucking shut up and watch the damn movie. But she was like, yeah, no, this is not good. So I was like, okay, I'm getting reinforcement here as well.
Sounds like you wanted to attach yourself to a noose.
Like Nancy had in her locker?
Yeah.
I love that. God, I love her. Oh,
this is the first time in a while where we've all been separated by a wide margin.
It's actually almost even.
Yeah.
5, 7.25, and 9.5. I think it might actually be the same.
Oh, it is. It's 2.25.
Wow. Probably never happened before.
Yeah, we've never. Nah, that's an odd thing to do.
Oh, that's crazy. God, Fairuza walking down the halls wearing the one scene where she's wearing white, and they're all walking down the hall and they're all real happy and they're playing their music. The soundtrack, God, I gotta shut up. Whew, I love it though, and Fairuza is just a goddess in this movie. My God, I wish I could be in 1996 again and be in that freaking town and go to high school with them.
From that standpoint, if we're going to take it to that level, she was my least favorite, at least of the four.
Oh my God.
It's so weird. I would have gone for Sarah, but I like the good girls. You're into the bad girls.
Sarah's my number 4. I'm just strictly going off looks. Just look, not even personality. Of course, her personality adds to it.
I love Robin Tunney. I adore her. I think she's terrific. So.
Yeah. But Skeet Ulrich.
Dude, he always has that goofy, evil look on his face.
He was like 20. He's 25, I think, in this. Playing a teenager. He was like, so because he was, I was like, I remember that from Scream and being like, came out the same year. 25, 26. 25, I guess, when filming. 26 when released. Playing a teenager. It's crazy.
They're all 25 and higher, I believe.
Rachel True was 47 in this.
No, she was almost 30. And you've seen her lately. Oh boy,
she looks exactly the same.
She looks beautiful. Her skin is flawless. Oh man, she's what a beautiful girl.
Black don't crack.
Indeed.
Okay. And it's in fashion, I heard.
Yeah, it's always in fashion. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for allowing me to talk about that movie. I'm glad you picked it. That's why it went on my list, because I've always wanted to do a review proper. Funny thing is, I don't even feel like I did a review proper, because I was just mostly arguing with him for half an hour about it and defending it instead of talking about it.
And I liked the movie, and I just felt like I had to argue it just for the sake of, I don't know.
For this guy.
Interesting.
That's the funny thing. I thought he was going to
discussion. I apologize, but there's nothing for me other than to say, hey, I liked a couple of the songs. The acting was okay. There was nothing for me. I mean, I could have told you, like I said, the creepy crawlies and whatever were almost too little, too late. This did not play out like a horror film until those last 20 minutes.
And the use of music, where they put the songs in the film. Like, you ever hear a song and go back to a movie and see perfect placement of a song in a film, and you can see what's happening on the screen just in your head when you hear a song? That's what this movie does to me. It was perfect placement of songs in the film. Just like I watched Boogie Nights last night. One of my all-time, that's like a top 20 movie for me.
All-time favorite movies.
I fucking adore it. But anytime a song is used in it, perfect. Perfect.
We hit on so many movies, Dave.
I know we do.
It's weird when we don't like this one.
You guys want to chow down on a 13-incher together?
Yeah, Dirk Diggler.
The tramp style. You start at the balls, I'll start at the tip.
Yo, you definitely took more than 6.5 there. You definitely got more than your share there.
Woo. Awesome.
Sorry, Dave. I don't even know why I did that. I felt bad. Like
I don't know why. I was bugging out because I didn't want to have to do it with him. He ended up not doing it, so you just fucking stepped in. Well,
that's what it is. He took a fucking nap over here. Went upstairs. Went upstairs, had a sandwich. Was probably hanging out with the kids, and I'm just like, all right, let me at least argue what Christian might be thinking. And then he's like, no, I wasn't thinking that. I just didn't fucking like this movie. It's fucking sucks.
Well, no, when you're trying to, like, I'm trying to take, like, you have your pad and you're watching this, and I'm like, just like, I got nothing. Like, I got
nothing.
This is still on.
Did you throw your pad down like that? I got nothing.
Amazing.
Probably.
Amazing.
All right.
Okay, well, one more to do. I'm gonna play something really quick because this is from our homie TMB and the nightclub. Travis, who's watching this right now or listening, he said something about us.
ITMB?
ITMB, sure. Travis Maxwell Boone. So anyway, I just want to play this really quick. This is what he said on his last show.
And Dave Z, along with Brandon Orlick and Christian Luciani. I've listened to Exploding Heads enough that I should know the proper way to pronounce his last name, but I just kind of know these guys as B, C, and D because that's what they call each other. So I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce the last name right. Don't be mad at me. But Exploding Heads, fucking funny as shit. They bring the information. They bring the spontaneity. Brandon Orlick is one of the wittiest motherfuckers of all time. He's so quick. He just comes in with the jokes. They go back and forth. They rib each other, and that's what I love about the show is that they all do this, and it's so much fun to hear them just go at each other and talk about horror and also talk about their own lives and families. And Exploding Heads is the best, all right? You want horror? They went Patreon exclusive recently. After their 100th episode, they are officially Patreon only, and I highly, highly recommend go back, listen to their catalog, judge for yourself. And if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of this show, you're going to be a fucking fan of the Exploding Heads podcast. I mean, goddamn. These guys are another level, okay? Go to patreon.com/Exploding Heads. Explore the tiers, all right? All the prices are reasonable as fuck. And you get so much. They have so many tiers. It's crazy. I have to upgrade soon because I was doing $3 a month, to get the audio and the video advancement. But I got to support these guys more. Like, I love their show. So,
wow.
TMB's here for you all day. And Dave and Watson, they call me TMB on their shows. So, I like that. That's cool. And
so it goes on more. Actually, my TMB.
It was great until you mentioned Watson.
Well, he did the art for the new show.
Yeah.
He did the art.
Travis is awesome. That was awesome of him to.
No, that artwork you did for your show has been great too.
Yes.
Thank God too, because that fucking logo, whoever created that logo before. So now that you got some good artwork. I'm joking.
It was my idea. I didn't create it, but it was my idea. The WZ in the circle, the way it is, the colors and everything. But still,
I'm just being a jerk.
I know.
You know me.
But Travis said that, and thank you. And listen to the nightclub. It's usually solo, but sometimes he has other people. Now, Travis, there's something I want to say. I know that you wrote the short story and you were telling it, and you said that it was specific to me. The short story. He reads it on the podcast. Last night at the end of the night, I tried to listen at work. I'm like, listen, I can't concentrate on a story unless I'm concentrated. I couldn't do it driving or working. So I said, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to listen to this short story, in my ears laying in bed. And I listened, and this happens a lot. But I was like 5 minutes in, and I conked out because that happens all the time. It doesn't speak of the story. It started off great, everything. It's just, I listen to soundtracks, and I'll listen 2 or 3 songs, and I'll conk out. So anyway, I will listen to that. I felt bad bringing this up and not bringing up the story because I don't know how it relates to me, but I'm excited to hear it. But I just want to
hear a short story. JP.
Oh boy. But
want to hear another one? Watson.
I knew that was coming. Okay. Next
JP
show.
and Watson walk into a bar. That's a short joke.
Next show 104, is the TMB. He did move up a tier to the double feature, and he chose Shining and Dr. Sleep. So we are going to be cover that next show. So awesome. So thank you for all those kind words. And
fuck am I hearing in the background?
They're vacuuming.
Oh, it's vacuum. It's fine. I just want, as long as it's explainable.
Are they vacuuming the 4 corners of the house?
I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're doing some shit.
They're invoking Manon.
Can they do that on what Z time? Preferably when Watson's talking.
I can tell you one thing. They're about to sage the house. I just got a text literally saying, I'm going to sage the house. So yes, this is the type of stuff that is practiced in my house. So I do know a little bit about invocation of the spirit, if you will, and things like that. But they are saging the house at some point today. I don't know why. Maybe because they knew I was talking about the craft. They love the craft as well, my wife and daughter. They're fucking huge into it. But anyway, that's another story. So I wanted to put.
You should have been on this instead of me.
I know, right? Maybe we'll do it again with Frankie. I'll do a bonus episode. What do you think, Frankie? But that's next show. We have one more movie to go here. Jason Smith, I want to say, actually, I think you reached out to him yesterday because Jason was going to be on the last show. Then we talked about having him on this show. Here's the problem, but I think that B straightened it out. We never know lately what time we're going to record on the days we're going to record until the day before. So it's impossible to say, hey, well, we're recording at this time tomorrow. Can you watch 3 movies between today and tomorrow? We're not going to do that. So we're going to have to do something with Jason because we do want to have him on the show. We just have to, I feel bad. I want to let him know personally that that's why we're doing this again and we're not doing it with him.
I'm over it.
Blame Christian. He's the one whose schedule gets fucked up.
He's a busy guy. What do you want? He's a family man, and he works.
I'm busy. It's choreography. Choreography. It is choreography.
Yeah,
because I got to figure out where everybody's going to be in this freaking house and where they're going to be, and they're dancing on 3 levels. This house has turned into a dance studio.
On the ceiling.
I pretty much am. You want to hear a freaky thing? I'll take a picture of it after. I asked my daughter this. She looks at me like I got 2 heads on.
I can't wait to hear that picture. You want to hear a freaky thing? I'll take a picture of this.
Well, I got to take a picture to prove what I'm talking about. I look up at the ceiling when I'm laying down on the couch down here. There's a footprint on the venting on the ceiling. I go, how the fuck did that happen?
Lionel, where you at, Lionel?
So I asked my daughter's 1 footprint. So I'm asking my daughter. I figured when her friends came over, one of the fucking assholes, because that I would have done it when I was a kid, put his foot up and press it up against. But it's still like. I don't know why or how he would have done it, like unless he just pushed his shoe up. But there's 1 footprint. But no one will answer. No one will say they know what happened.
Is that the friend standing right behind you in the corner?
Yeah, that's what became of him. Yep. You know what happened? The guy took his fucking shoe off and did it with his hand.
That's what I figure.
That's what
after.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Just to be cute. You know what I mean?
Time for the Goosebumps giveaway.
Yeah.
Oh, we're supposed to have a giveaway. Fuck, I won't be able to do the numbers. Sorry, guys, it'll have to be next show. I even told them on the page I would do it. Damn it, we just don't have enough time. Okay, next show, we'll have the giveaway.
104 if you're lucky.
104?
We're giving away a Goosebumps, a Friday the 13th NECA, and a Black Phillip Funko.
And a human skeleton.
and a human centipede.
And the kid who put the footprint on the ceiling.
Yeah. I got him in the freezer.
Here's what I don't understand. Don't you think that'd be a really cool idea for a toy for someone to make a human centipede and you could send in pictures of the people you want to put in the centipede and display it? Like, could you imagine that? Like having a human centipede and, Brandon's face is on it or something as the one in the front?
I would like it to
and the back.
I would like it to be a candy dispenser for Tootsie Rolls.
Like Pez?
For Tootsie Rolls. No, Pez is the obvious choice. Tootsie Rolls, so it looks like poo.
Right.
Pez is the obvious choice. What an asshole.
I'm sorry. I was thinking come on, Pez.
It'd be brown Pez.
Brown. Yeah.
Fucking
what the hell was I thinking? The obvious choice was the brown Pez.
Don't eat the brown Pez.
Don't eat I want a bumper sticker that says "Don't eat the brown Pez." I always want bumper stickers of things like that will say or things that like inside jokes with people that nobody will know.
That would be the best because then you'd have like us and then maybe a handful of patrons that want it wearing it as a shirt.
Exactly.
Don't eat the brown Pez.
We should do that.
It's getting funnier the more everyone says it.
We're going to look into that T-shirt company and see what they'll let us do. And then, again, when we do it, everyone here can get the T-shirts for whatever we pay for them. We're not going to make any profit with the shirts. If it's $20 for the shirt, you pay $20. Nobody gets no money. Just boom. But we should buy some good shirts. That'd be cool, man. Don't eat the brown Pez. A bumper sticker.
That's so funny. It's hilarious.
It is funny.
Don't eat the brown Pez.
Oh, shit. Well, we really do crack each other up.
Yeah. I hope that review. I hope he's a patron or she. I don't think it was
if it is you, yes. If it is you, please fess up. We want to know. They correct themselves up. Yes. A 3-star rating. I think it was 3. Either way. Okay. We have one more movie to do.
Do it.
And it is okay. You want to talk? Oh, okay. This is well, you know what? This is from Derek. Thank you, Derek. And
thank you, Derek, for ruining Dave Z's night.
No, it's okay. I did good. And this comes from Brandon's pick in the top 30. So the big 30 for me. So
the big 30, the dirty 30. Under the Skin from 2013, a mysterious young woman seduces lonely men in the evening hours in Scotland. However, events lead her to begin a process of self-discovery. Yeah, this was my I saw this in 2014, and that was the time when I started interacting with the 22 Shots guys. And, they asked me to do a top 10 list, and they posted it on their site they had. I'm not sure if they still have the site, but they posted. And this was my number 10 film from that year. That was the only time I saw it. Have not seen it since until yesterday.
Okay. Go ahead.
And it's good. It's good. You know what I thought when I was watching this? This would be a great double feature with the Neon Demon. Now, I'm not saying the same caliber. I'm just saying it reminded, presentation-wise, this director is very confident. And what I mean that is he will linger on shots that I would have cut away from like 10 seconds earlier in some cases. One example, I remember turning to my wife and going, wasn't that like excessively long on the screen? Is when she falls down on the ground and her head's on the ground. And it's
she's laying head down for like an hour.
For her face. And it's just on the shot. And you're like, okay, cut away. Okay, now cut away. Okay, we need you to cut away now. And it does not cut away. And then finally it cuts away. You thought that too, then obviously, Brandon. I was just like, but it's his comfort zone. I'm not saying it's right. I would have made a totally different, I would have cut away after like 2 seconds of the shot being on the screen. But I'm just saying that's how I view how he does it. He's very confident in how long he wants everything to play out. And I think this movie is probably a good 15, 20 minutes longer because of it. It doesn't play out long though. You know how I was looking at my watch, and this is going to be the funniest part, pausing it and going, we're only this far, when I was watching The Craft. The first time I did this here, I was an hour into the movie. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm an hour into this movie already? I would have thought like 30 minutes tops. So I don't know why, but that's how this movie played out for me here. So it's not excessively long, but it's leisurely paced. A lot of the information could have been told in a significantly shorter amount of time.
The third act, especially. Nothing happens in the fucking third act. They could have just cut 20 minutes out of that third act and just show
that's where everything happens.
I thought that's where everything hanging. Whoa. Okay, let me say this. So you said that the last movie, it was your least amount of notes ever taken. This is the least amount of notes I've ever taken for a film. I'm not saying that I think it's a bad film by any means. I'm just saying there wasn't enough happening on the screen that I could write about it. But all I'm saying is, after the one incident happens with the one guy, I don't know what the fuck happens in the rest of the film, except I guess she has regret. But then after that, nothing happens. She tries to eat. I don't know. I guess she tries to eat a cake. Some shit happens there. I don't know. But then she meets the guy on the bus. And from the minute she meets the guy on the bus until she's in the woods at the end of the movie, that 20 minutes could have been cut because nothing happens. The guy tries to sleep with her. She's hanging out with this guy. But literally nothing has happened. Everything in the climax, I get to a degree. I understand. But all of that stuff, I don't know. Then I see the bikers riding around. I still don't know.
I took it as this. I mean, Brandon, you correct me if I'm wrong. I took it as this. The biker and her were aliens.
Yeah.
From another planet. They're the only two. Thank you.
There's more than one biker, no? There's like 3 or 4 bikers.
No, they're like 3. There were like 3 bikers, but I'm assuming the bikers are more like keepers or trackers of the aliens while they're out doing their work.
And what's their work? Just take men?
Harvesting men. In the novel,
first person's a woman, so she just to get her clothes from her.
No, know what?
That's her.
That's open for interpretation. That could be that opening woman that they take the clothes from could be another alien who died.
Oh, I thought she was taking her skin. My wife thought the same thing. She thought it was the same person, like the both people. I go, oh, so an alien came down and she's taking her, almost like what was that movie with Lauren Ashley Carter? That type of thing. Like she took the Imitation Girl. She took the appearance of this woman that was dead. So I thought the woman that was down on the ground was the same girl as the alien, and she took her identity and took her clothes and said, okay.
She took her clothes, but I almost got the impression like she's an alien who was doing work and whatever and died, and now she's taking her clothes and taking over as the next in line. Like it's a well-run factory machine where they're harvesting men. I mean, in the novel, it's originally known that they're harvesting men for meat, for food.
Why not women then? If it's for food, why don't you get women?
Because men are easy prey when
they're using the beauty of woman and her lust and her beauty to lure the men in.
That's true.
My wife said it best. This is where you kind of deserve it, where you go into a decrepit old house and you follow the pretty woman up into the darkness.
Well, that's
you deserve what's coming to you.
That's the great thing about this is that she creates this portal through anything, whether it's through a house, through an apartment, through her van, like whatever she opens, it automatically leads into like this portal where the men fall into like this void and are harvested. They're almost like pickled, because then you see their skin fall off and their
I know we made the joke pickle juice, but that's what it is. That's why I say I find it's actually fairly straightforward. He doesn't outright tell you what's going on, but it's like they're on Earth to harvest humans. They transfer the meat. The skin gets left behind. They transfer the meat through the portal, and then ultimately she's starting to see emotion, and she wants to kind of experience what she's witnessing and seeing day in and day out, and live like a human. And that's why she tries to eat that beautiful looking cheesecake or dessert, and she can't. It's just not what they eat. Yeah. And they can't digest or whatever. And then she ends up getting pursued by or is on that bus, and you need subtitles. There's very little dialogue in this movie, but because it's so Scottish, you need subtitles on. I had to talk I was looking at my wife. I'm like, what the fuck did they just say? My wife watched this movie with me too. And she said everything, maybe because she's Irish, but she said everything back to me verbatim. I'm like, what? I could not take that out of anything they said.
Do you understand anything your wife says?
Yeah. Well, she doesn't have an accent. She's not
always
Irish.
After me Lucky Charms.
Yeah. She's not that Irish background.
I know.
Skunk.
Okay.
So
what was she eating? What was she eating if she? So we're huh? Okay. If she tries to eat the cheesecake later, or whatever the hell it was that looked beautiful, that cake, what was she eating before that? They never showed her eating anything. Was she eating the men that she killed? Because they didn't show it. How are you supposed to deduct that from that?
They eat that often. It doesn't matter. She's an alien.
Yeah, but she gets sick from it and passes out because she's not eating. That's what I got out of it. When she passed out, is because she was starving and hadn't eaten. Because it happens right after that. So to me, the insinuation is she was eating just fine. Then as soon as she stopped killing men, everything changed, and then she passed out. So I'm thinking, well, she's weak because she's trying to eat that thing. She didn't eat it. And then she passed out from hunger. That was my guess. I mean, because her personality.
I think she passed out from working.
Okay.
From what?
Working too much.
Well, I thought she just couldn't process the food. And it just was, her system rejected it. And that was.
It's like what we do in the shadows when the vampire tries to eat and he's spewing up the blood. That's really what it is.
I agree. But. It was lack of food. That's what I got, because after that, her whole demeanor changed. She stopped talking. In the beginning, she was having conversations. She was fine. The second half, when she hooks up with that guy, she doesn't say two words to him. So all of a sudden, she's just sitting there kind of staring off into space like she's fucking gone, like gone mentally. I took that as she was eating before or something, because all of a sudden, as soon as she stopped killing men, she became a shell of herself. She was just there. She passed out. And then she was just sitting there like a fucking deadhead.
She's there to kill men, so that's her purpose. So once she stops doing that, she kind of loses her purpose and becomes an observer. This film would have been good if it was told in like chapters.
Because we also don't even know if she's female. She's just wearing female skin. Yeah. Because as we know later, she's got no genitalia.
But this should have been told in chapters, because each interaction with each person kind of builds and gets more and more beautiful and more human leading up to the very end. And, in the beginning, it's sort of menacing and scary, the music and the visuals.
Beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah, yep. Absolutely. And she's killing them with no remorse. And then she ultimately meets people that she connects with more. And the music is less haunting, and it's more emotional, the connections. And then by the end, but when she meets the guy in the bus, it's almost as if she's fallen in love and has a relationship with him, and it's beautiful. It's daylight out there. It's beautiful castles that they're exploring and everything like that. But she's becoming a shell of herself because she's on Earth now without a purpose. But she's also intrigued by the fact that of the human emotion.
Of emotion, exactly.
Yeah.
I just watched another movie. I watched Soldier. Remember we were talking about we did Event Horizon? I watched Soldier, and it very similar. The guy is like brought up without an emotion, and then just to be a soldier, and then he ends up protecting a colony. And it's funny because it kind of shares thematic elements. Watch it in the same day, two totally different movies, with the same sort of underlining thematic elements. But Brandon, I think you nailed it on the head there. But again, it's paced. It's very long. There are sequences that are very long, and that's why I say ballsy. Because as a filmmaker, as an editor, the editor in me would not allow that. Maybe I'm ADHD. I don't know, but I would have not allowed it to play out quite as long in certain sequences. I would have had to trim each sequence down to bring the running time down. But it's beautiful.
Yeah,
there's a lot of beautiful shots here, as well.
There are. Everything that happens in the hidden, or whatever room you want to call it, is great. The best scene of all. The best. I wanted to just show my wife, rewind and show her this one season, but I couldn't rewind because I couldn't come across something else again. So I'll never see it again. But
the viewing upward from inside the hidden.
Well, that is great, but I'm talking about when that guy collapses, when he's inside that fucking thing and turns into that thing, when he ultimately the demise of him. And dude, it's amazing. What a fucking brilliant idea, and a way for him to collapse when the one guy's fresh in there and he's reaching out to him and they touch hands and you see that his arm's bubbling and then you see what happens to him and the way he ultimately, I guess, dies, the way it's shot and the way that looks. I've never seen anything like that. I thought it was that's a 10 out of 10 shot in this movie. I'll tell you, anytime you're in that blackness, in that shit, tremendous. More of that would have been great. But then again, I don't know. That is the highlight of the film to me, are those scenes, and of course the score, which I've listened to several times. I listened to it at bedtime. It's great, man. I never even saw the movie, but I was aware of it being a good soundtrack, so I check it out. I listened to it, but all that stuff's great. I just, like I said, I really checked out. Freaking in not the whole third act, because it gets hot again after she meets the guy in the bus. I understand what's going on here. I understand what they're trying to say. It
happens too late. I drifted. I think
I checked
that's
out.
The thing. I think that needed to be shifted. Yeah. I think the problem with this is, where I had issue in the craft of just not being able to relate. I was able to relate here, but everything, like the first turning point, seems to be pushed a lot further into the movie than it should be, and then that probably should have been 20 minutes earlier, shifting everything a little bit earlier in the film. So you've got to stay with the movie a bit more, and then by the third act maybe you wouldn't have been checked out as much, because there would have been something to get you there, because I really do like that. That's where I think her wanting to experience love and emotion, and realizing what she is or what she isn't, and then fleeing, and then she ends up running into that guy in the forest, and that's where it takes it to another level there. That's where it gets really kind of interesting, though, because
it's awesome.
That's where she splits.
That with the shedding of skin is fucking amazing. Ultimately, I don't really understand what happens in the last shot, what the insinuation is. Is it death? Is it this? I don't know. It's cool looking, and it's kind of like what Brandon said about the ending of The Ritual, how he didn't quite, I don't know. It was almost kind of like, well, so that's how they're ending it now. Okay. I didn't dislike it. I don't know. Maybe I didn't completely get it. Maybe it went over my head. But then again, it's a horror movie. Okay,
well, it's a science fiction. I'd
you
say this is more
consider
science
this
fiction.
movie? Okay, I was gonna say, if you consider The Craft not horror, but this horror, because in essence it's the same thing. The amount of horror that's portrayed in both I mean,
well,
you
this
do see
happens
killing.
earlier. Yeah. This happens earlier. I think the score here helps me because we're not here listening to the Smiths covers or anything else. We're listening to a haunting soundtrack as well. So I would categorize this as sci-fi horror and have no problem with that.
That's fine.
But it definitely weighs more on the sci-fi side of things, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, this is more of a sci-fi film.
Me too. Oh yeah, that's fine. The first act is great. Her pursuit of the men, even though it's simple and maybe it can get repetitious, some people would say, I like it so much because it's so straightforward. This is what would happen. I like the idea of her coming down, doing it, easily seducing men. All she has to do is look at him and talk to him. They want to be with her. Of course, she's freaking beautiful. That's fine.
But she picks. She asks questions.
Yeah.
Asks questions.
Well, she has dialogue. Yeah.
Well, she has to make sure that she wants to make sure that they're not going to be missed or that stuff like that.
I thought that was good.
They're not going to.
What does she care?
But she does.
I
don't know if it's already if it's the wheels already turning, like she already does care, which is putting things into motion, which is why I wish it got to the scene which we assume is the hard part for you to watch, Dave, where it's the deformed person and you feel so bad for them. They're like, well, this is wrong. She shouldn't have done it. And then you find out she doesn't.
Dude, that's an absolutely great scene in the film. The conversation they have and just the scene when she says, you want to come back to my place? I live about 30 minutes from here, and they show his hands and he's pinching himself.
Yeah.
I think it's a great scene. I think they did a great job with not doing prosthetics and they actually reached out to this guy, and he's done some work in production before, and there were no actors in this film with the exception of Scarlett Johansson.
Are you serious?
Yeah, everyone else is just.
That's what I told my wife. I go, imagine you landed the role of, okay, in this scene you're going to be making out with Scarlett Johansson. You'd be like, God damn it! Thank you, thank God I answered the telly or the phone.
Wow, and they get to see her naked.
Yeah, that's
yes.
But she's great in this. Like, I mean, you got to realize, like, her stardom was already. I think she already was. The Avengers came out this year. Of the 2013.
Yeah, she was well known, and she chose this film. And I read something about the director and her saying that they met each other years before, and they kind of. This took a while to get going. Originally, this was going to be an alien husband and wife farmer, and Brad Pitt was going to be in it, and it originally was going to be much more detailed, and they really stripped it back.
It's like farmer, the fuck.
They stripped it out. Yeah, it was going to be them living as farmers and I guess harvesting humans, but
with a hoe and everything.
I mean, Dave, I could see that
a cultivator.
You didn't agree, but I just from the way it's done, from an artistic standpoint, from the way it's done, that's what I'm talking about. It's like the double feature with like the Neon Demon. Like the Neon Demon plays scenes out a lot too. It has a great soundtrack or score as well, and it's just something. To me, makes them seem like they could be companion films. Yeah. Although I don't rate this movie as high as I do the Neon Demon.
Neither do I. But I do feel, and I'll say it again, I do feel like this film almost would have even benefited from doing like a Lars von Trier type thing where you have like chapters.
Yep.
That's what
I was thinking.
It felt like each encounter was like a mini chapter, and you see the evolution of her discovering her humanity and exploring her. The anatomy of the human body and that scene on the beach. Oh my God.
I think you're right. I think just by having those little interludes of like, chapter 1, whatever, Elephant Man, whatever it may be. And then you go into it. Sorry, but I mean, just.
That scene on the beach though, haunting.
I got confused with the scene in the bed. I didn't even know what the hell happened. I thought there was a dog in the water at one point.
There was a dog in the water.
So the dog drowned.
So what happened to the dog?
The wife went in to try and get the. Yeah, the wife went in to try to get the dog. The dog's getting dragged out. The wife's getting dragged out. So the husband goes in after the wife, and he's getting dragged out. Then the swimmer who she's trying to talk up to get him to be a victim, he goes to help, pulls the husband back to shore, but then he goes right back out after her, and they all drown.
Okay, I got confused. First of all, I thought that, I saw a dog for 1 second, then I didn't see him again. I go, maybe that wasn't a dog, maybe it was a person. Okay, because then I didn't see him again. Then I thought a kid was in the water and he was chasing his dog. So apparently I thought the wife was the child of this man, not his wife. I thought
the child was still on the beach. The baby.
The baby. I got that after. But I mean, I thought that this is what I saw. Her talking to this diver or this swimmer, whatever the fuck he was. I saw her talking to this guy. Then I saw a kid playing in the water. And then I saw a dog in the water. And then I saw the kid going to get the dog, and they both vanished. And then I saw the guy go in. And then I thought that the guy was rescued. The dog disappeared, if there even was a dog. Like I said, I thought maybe I imagined it. And then I thought that they just left the guy for dead. The guy that went there to save them. I was like, why were they leaving him for dead? And then I didn't realize that the other guy drowned because they showed the father on the beach also drowned, right?
Yeah, he went back out. The swimmer saved him, but he went back out after his wife and dog, and all three of them drowned. He was exhausted, the swimmer, so he passed out. She hit him over the head with a rock and then put him in the car, and they leave the baby. And even when the motorcyclist comes to clean up the scene, to get rid of all the evidence, to get rid of the tent and stuff, he leaves the baby there.
See, this is what makes no sense with her character now. If you're saying that right off the bat, she's asking questions about these men because she wants to make sure that they're not missed. I thought she was doing it because it was going to be easier for her to get away with the crime she was about to commit. Someone that lives alone, it's easier to kill. But she wasn't killing
the family, though. She was going after that guy. Okay.
But it's easier to kill someone that doesn't have any attachment, someone that's just a single man. It's just easier to get away with your crime. No, I'm just saying, it's always easiest to kill somebody, especially if you're going to go to their house. The way she was talking, I didn't know. This is just my interpretation of it. But what I'm saying is, if you're saying that she had any type of inner turmoil about who she's killing and all this other stuff and leaving someone behind, why would she leave a fucking baby behind? That would be the last thing she would do. If she had any compassion in her heart whatsoever, you're not going to leave a baby behind. That goes against.
She has no humanity in her at this point.
Why is she asking questions?
She's not developed.
10 minutes ago, you said she was asking questions because she
to make it easier to get it. Yeah, to make it easier to get away with it.
She has feelings. There you have it.
I don't know if it's necessarily feelings. I think it's more of
maybe Christian said that.
I alluded to that. I said the questions were maybe the start of her, but no, I think initially the questions are to make sure they've got no connections.
That's what I thought
as well. Yeah. But you can only then argue that where the story goes and how she has this underlining fascination with emotions and humanity that maybe that was it. Maybe she's asking because she's interested in their life as well. I don't know, whatever.
It's almost as if she's asking if they're alone, so it'll be easier to get away with it. And then eventually she reaches a point where she meets the guy with the facial deformity, and she asks him, and he gives the same answer, that he's alone. But she connects with him. And, this is where the emotion starts to build, and she starts to get a sense that just because, you're alone and, nobody might miss you doesn't mean you're not a human being. And, under the skin, we're all the same.
Fucking great.
I mean, look, she's wearing a skin suit. Right. Everybody's shedding their skin. This guy has a facial deformity, but we're all the same. I mean, there's deeper themes here, and I was careful not to do too much research on this because I don't want to be that type of show that comes on here and just reads, what other people are thinking. I want to, do what we're doing, kind of figure it out for ourselves. But there's definitely deeper themes here.
So because she meets him, that changes everything about her.
I think
he has a different appearance. So ultimately, it becomes about outward appearance and nothing but that. Just because he looks this way, that changes her whole opinion on.
I think it's a stepping stone. I think it's the constant, the day in day out of what she does, how she does it, her process. I think she is starting to develop this, like I said, connection. And I think we're seeing it from her just asking questions to make sure that they're alone, to then it progressing to maybe something that she finds more important, and then running into this guy with the deformity. I think just furthers her attachment. I guess.
She's always examining herself in the mirror, looking at herself. She's checking out her body. So
she doesn't want any problems.
She becomes I think it's also her intrigue into, what lies beneath. And I think she starts to, you know, realize that with the people. And I think meeting somebody, you know, meeting the guy with the deformity might have made her question, you know, there's more to these people than what's on the surface. Everyone else at the beginning is more of, you know, oh, you look gorgeous, love. I mean, they're not bad guys by any means. They're not scumbags. They're just more of like, hey, you know, I'd like to, you know, they basically want to be with her.
Sure.
Well, most of them are not even looking for a ride.
No,
they're just helping her out.
Yeah, the guy in the club, like he didn't do anything wrong. He's like, hey, love, you look gorgeous. You're alone. I'm alone. Let me buy you a drink. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, it's more of like a shallower conversation, whereas it gets deeper, and she sort of connects with the guy with the deformity because he's sort of, you know, alone and going through this mundane routine of going shopping at night because he doesn't want to see people because they agitate him, you know, I guess because they stare and stuff. And she kind of is connecting in the same way because everywhere she goes, everyone's staring at her because she's so gorgeous.
True. I think it would have been better served if they would use a person that was like slow mentally, or maybe someone that had Down syndrome and something like that. I think the message would have made more sense and translated to me because it's more about the inside than just a physical appearance. But that's just me. I just think it would have been better served to examine, you know, more about the psyche of somebody who was also an outcast for a different reason, more than just physical, but like mentally slow too or something like that. I think
that would, you know what, that I agree with you there. I actually think you know, an interaction with like somebody with Down syndrome, you know, a male with Down syndrome would have been a really powerful scene.
See, I think they used him more for shock value because it becomes more memorable. And I don't know. I think it's unnecessary.
I don't know. Again,
because you talk
although Brandon was making a joke about it earlier, I think it's supposed to be that we're all the same. Like,
I get
that. It was, you know, I mean, it was, you know,
true.
said jokingly, but it is, you know, it is true. But I do agree, you know,
we're not all the same, but you know what I mean. Like that, what's important is what's in.
Is under the skin. Under my skin.
You managed to work that into two different things.
I don't know why I've been singing that song a lot lately.
It's a good song, man.
It is a good song. I don't know. I'm just randomly singing that.
Stones. You can never go wrong with those Stones. Or in that case, Social Distortion does a good cover of it.
Social D. Well. There you go. They're back to Social D. Nice. But that one shot is great when the guy's first under and he looks up and he sees her walking above. How they did it is fucking tremendous. Good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Visually a stunning film. You know, sound design. Even, you know, at the beginning when, you know, she's first coming to Earth. I don't know if that's what that interpretation is or just her awakening. But you know, she's doing the enunciations of the letters, and then she, you know, she gets the clothes. And you know what? You thinking her passing out or, you know, tripping or whatever she did there, being from exhaustion and maybe hunger. Cool. That makes more sense to me to explain the girl at the beginning. I think these workers are sort of worked to death, and I think that's what happened with the girl at the beginning, because the motorcyclist knows her location immediately, goes down onto the beach in the pitch black, drags her up, and you could see she's like, her face, it looks like she's worn, like she's like almost like starved and worn out. So it almost seems like she was
she's the replacement.
And here comes the replacement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I think you hit on something there.
No, that's cool. That's cool. No, I'm glad that it isn't all, you know, spoon fed, and that you know, we're interpreting it. That's fine. I dig it. There's some good things about it. I just get bored in the third act.
I understand what you're saying, but I like the idea of, you know, her luring these men into the void, into like this. They're walking, it becomes like a puddle and then a pool, and then at the end in the third act, the guy who she's sort of. I understand. I do agree with you, see, that it probably should have been developed a little bit earlier, because you didn't really get a conversation with him. There should have been a little bit more. You know, he's not even harassing her on the bus, but the bus driver's like, "Hey, leave that lass alone," or whatever. Right. But the way he carries her over the puddle, like he's keeping her from slipping into the void at that point. And then
you could draw a parallel.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then at the end, when she's in the woods, when the logger is chasing after her, when she's walking through the woods, if you notice, you see the trees and there's like 1,000 little puddles everywhere. And it's almost as if foreshadowing, saying, you can't escape it. You can't escape what's the word I'm looking for?
Inevitable.
Yeah, you can't escape what your fate. Your inevitable fate here is the fate that all your victims have unfortunately suffered, because she draws them into the void, and now here it's almost like there's nowhere for her to go because they're everywhere. And then, she gets killed.
Yeah, no, that's true. And what a beautifully shot sequence in that forest as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, turning to my wife, I'm like, it amazes me, like, because that didn't look like CG fire. So this guy's on fire running through a forest. I've always wondered, for a film, is that the smartest thing to do? Because he's like, whatever they did when the fire is going. Now I'm confusing if I'm talking about the right movie or not. Yeah, when she's on fire, does she run out?
She's on fire.
Yeah. She runs out through when he sets her ablaze, she takes off and then eventually falls down.
Yeah, in like a clearing, like runs into a clearing and falls.
Yeah, she's running through the end part of the forest ablaze.
Yeah.
It is kind of.
And I think that last shot is sort of like poetic, with like you see the camera looking up and it's like the snow falling and you see the burning, and it almost looks like the snow turns to ash. So it's almost like, in the end, even though it's it's sad that they killed her, she almost becomes one with the earth, like the ash and the snow become one. And then you see the motorcyclist looking out as if he's completely lost her at this point. Like,
well, then the last shot isn't the last shot the snow hitting the lens and
it, but then you see the shot of him on like the mountain looking out, like he's completely lost track of her, and she gets to be one with the earth. So it's sort of like nice in a horrifying way. It's sort of poetic in a horrific way.
Nice. Yeah, I can dig that. Yeah,
there is good stuff. Like, there's definitely good stuff here. I would watch this again. Like I said, he paints a nice picture like that. The shot you're talking about when he's looking off on the mountains there, beautiful shot. There's a lot of great shots in here. And then Dave, like, you kept going back to the void. I mean, some of the best stuff. The void, and like when the second guy goes in, and you're right, he sees what becomes of the first guy.
So good.
It's so disorienting, the sound design they use and just the way they walk. Sometimes they use no sound; they're just walking, and it's almost as if you're in like a hyperbaric chamber, and all your senses have been shut off, and they're walking, and it's like they're just like meat vessels at this point. They're like void of all thought and sense. They're just walking to your death.
Movie 5.
Meat vessels. Yes.
Meat vessels. We're simply meat with eyes. But that look back when he's looking back up and she's walking away and she's getting small. Oh man, really some amazing cinematography.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, very, very well made. I'll say that. Just a couple decisions, and like I said, just some of the stuff in the third act, I don't know. I just didn't care at that point. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I said in the initiation, I will say it here again, and I'm repeating myself. They needed to shift things to help the movie flow a bit better, in my opinion.
To be honest, the second watch now, I didn't feel as high about it as the first time. I don't remember what I rated it 6 years ago, but I definitely looked at my watch a few times and thought to myself, this could be a little shorter. They could do this. But I actually feel like the conversation that we're having about it and thinking about certain things and pointing out certain aspects is making me enjoy it more.
Nice.
Where'd you end up? Or are you done, or do you have more?
I have no notes. So.
I to be honest, these were the fewest notes I had too. And I wrote down stuff just in big letters, but I did not have a lot of notes either.
Meat vessels.
I didn't write down meat vessels.
Nice.
There's another shirt. Don't eat the brown Pez, and then just another one that says meat vessels. Sounds like a good name for a band.
I was just gonna say that.
Right?
Words out of my mouth. Meat Vessels. Yeah. That's a great name, like a punk band. Meat Vessels. You know? Punk rock.
I wrote that down earlier. I'm like, meat vessels is like one of the notes I have on my piece of paper for what you said. It's funny.
You wrote down meat vessels?
No. After he said it, I'm like, it's because I laughed. I'm like, meat vessels. I do that while we're doing the show. I jot down like things that people have said or notes or whatever. Nothing becomes of these notes. I just.
You know what's gonna become of it when we get the soundboard. We got to find out when it was said, what show it was said, and then we can just press the button. Someone could say.
But I don't keep those notes. The notes are scribbles all over. Like it becomes like one big.
We remember the good ones. Let's be honest. Well, we're not forgetting "Don't Eat the Brown Pez." We're not forgetting meat vessels. Don't eat the brown pez.
You're probably right, but then sometimes the listener says something and you have no recollection that it was said. You're like, oh wait, we said that, because it does happen. A lot of things are said. We fire out freaking quips 100 a show sometimes, depending on the show.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I know people are going to be mad at me for going for the quarter ratings 3 movies in a row, but I'm doing the quarter ratings again, and I'm going 8.25.
8.25 quarter, Mr. Quarter.
8 1/4. I think I was an 8 out of 10 the first time.
And I'm comfortable with a 7.5 out of 10. Very good movie. I enjoyed it. Love the soundtrack. And the cinematography is fantastic.
And well, I'm using a quarter myself. I'm doing a 7.25. How's that? That's how I feel. Higher than a 7. Higher than a 7. Not exactly exactly a junior, but you know what I mean? Although junior might be 7 1/4 at this point at my age. I don't know.
What, does it shrink as you get older?
Don't they?
Don't tell me this.
I'm guessing they might.
Don't tell me this. I can't afford to shrink anymore.
Oh, your balls sag more. I can tell you that.
That's fine. I can say at least I have really long balls.
Maybe ball sagging gives the appearance of it being shorter. So maybe that's what it is.
Look at Christian. He's like trying to shake it off.
Not that my balls have sagged 8 inches.
He genuinely tried to shake it off. Did you see him go like this? Like, can I get rid of this?
The image of you with your balls. I was just like, I don't want to.
No. Enough dick and balls.
Anyway.
Enough cock and balls. That'd be another shirt. No more than 3 minutes of cock and balls. That's it. That's the limit.
You know what I realized?
There's another shirt?
Yeah.
No more than 3 minutes of cock and balls.
No more than what? 3 what?
Minutes. On the podcast.
Cock and balls story.
Yeah. Cock and balls. It can only be a 3-minute max. That's it. Can't do it too much. We're unfiltered, but we're not, that unfiltered.
You're scaring me. I don't want my penis to get any smaller.
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't get smaller. I don't know. Everything does, though. We shrink as people, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. I don't mind getting shorter. Just want my penis to stay the same size. It's fine. I'm okay with it.
You know what?
It took me 40 years to come to term with it. Now you're telling me it's gonna get smaller. No,
that's fine. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna measure tonight. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make sure I'm on the up and up. I
measure from
the back of the ass.
My asshole.
We've heard that before. Cock, balls, and ass.
You know what? They actually, I'm not lying. I don't know why I know this, but I must have looked it up at some point. But they actually tell you the correct way to measure your penis length is by sticking the ruler into the top of your pubic bone. And they say to stick it into the pad there because they say you hide like a 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 an inch in your fat pad, your bush pad.
So you're like, what if you stick the ruler like right in?
What you saying?
You could push it 20 inches. It comes out your back.
Wait a minute, I'm Dirk Diggler after all. Wait a minute, I'm 13.
Check this out. Just snap a picture and show the top with a number there. Perfect.
So how did you get your hernia? Well,
you had a big ruler. One of those,
measuring my dick.
A yardstick. Use a tape measure. Be safe. You put the tape. You got the little thing on the end. You push it down, and then you can wrap it around and get your dimension. Your width.
I use one of those Taylor ones, like the soft ones, not tape measure. Tape measure, you might hit the thing by accident, and then it like ricochets back into your balls or something. Like I use like the material ones where you're like trying to measure your waist.
Okay. I always tell women my centimeters. so I sound bigger. Like, yeah, I'm packing 12.
Yeah, I'm Canadian, so I use centimeters all the time.
So you measured it too, huh? See? You did measure.
Every man on earth is
every
measured.
night. Oh,
yeah, that's why I say you gotta pull the ball. There's a whole show you gotta
pull the ball. I've never heard you gotta pull the balls. He's pleasuring himself. He's confusing measuring himself versus pleasuring himself. It's like you gotta pull the balls. No, you don't.
Well, you gotta pleasure yourself before you measure yourself. Obviously,
that's true.
You know that comes with the territory.
Wow.
Pleasure then measure. That'd be a short
quota for the next 3 shows.
Pleasure then measure. I like that.
Another shirt.
It's like you got to pull the balls. You got to put a finger in your butt. That's the only way to get an accurate measurement.
That's not how you guys do it.
Well, maybe if it gets it longer to put a finger in your butt, you might be honest. Maybe you enjoy it more. I don't know. It's the most pleasure you can think of. I haven't tried it. I have not tried it. We better stop because we've gone over.
I gotta get going. Actually, I just realized.
Yeah. All right, gents. Great show. Thank you to the listeners.
Yeah.
We love you. We're enjoying this, and
I hope you're enjoying this.
Yeah. If not,
I said we're enjoying this. I said.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Hopefully they're enjoying.
We hope you are too. Yeah. Next show is a giveaway. Damn it! I'll get it set up.
Goosebumps giveaway.
And we'll do it. Goosebumps.
I actually have to buy a movie for the next show. I want to ask this right now before we go. Are we reviewing the director's cut?
Yes.
Dr. Sleep.
That's the problem. You got to get the Blu-ray to get the direct. You couldn't believe that bullshit.
I'm gonna buy it though. I want to buy it anyway, but
it comes with the 4K anyway. So.
Yeah, it comes with both versions. Yeah.
That's what bothers me. Anyway, we can't talk about it now. But I mean, shit. Whatever. We got.
But the idea is Shining, director's cut of Dr. Sleep, and Killer Workout.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
That's what it is. So.
Killer Workout. Perfect trio. Peace out, everyone.
That's what we gotta do. Yeah, we love you. See you later.
Love you.
Say,